Hello, welcome back to Trucking Answers Live. It's Monday. It's good to see everybody out there. What's happening today? It's super cold here in Lafayette. Ivona, we are ready here to roll it on along as the live show starts on Monday. Thank you everybody for being here. It's Trucking Answers Monday Live. So for people that are new and don't know, I'm looking at another screen down here so I can keep up with all of the comments. So I'm not trying to ignore everybody. Only certain people. No, that's not true. Okay, hey, so what's going on out there, everybody? Doug is here. Dylan, thanks for coming in. Trucking Wife, it's good to see you. Jason, thank you for coming in. Boy, everybody's here today. Richard, hopefully everybody is staying warm. Roger Penske did your annual, finished your DOT annual for the truck, I hope, right? Because the physical 2 years. James, maybe you get a 1 year, is here. At least it's warm over there, right, Mr. Penske? Super trucker, nice. Holland Freight, yeah, what are we doing giving up wages? Who does that? What the heck is the point of a union if we're giving up wages? What's the point? Sergeant Sparky in Nebraska, nice. Douglas, you're not going to go on strike. Yeah, nobody's going to go on strike except for like 43 people. Dylan, you look stupider than usual. That's not great. You're going to stay home today, but a brake chamber gave you problems and lit your brakes. Well, you need that fire today to stay warm. Holy mackerel, it was 8 degrees this morning. And for those of you that follow me on Instagram, and if you're not, go follow me on Instagram. Anyhow, at Trucking Answers, the car was just piled full of snow, the Trucking Answers mobile unit over the weekend. So, Douglas, paycheck matters. Exactly. Your paycheck matters. Gray Wolf, thanks for coming in. Mr. Skeptical, how you doing today? What are you doing this week? Nothing, not too much going on for you anyway. Gub Scout, hello. Yeah, Eric, the Blue Parrot logo, they're a friend of the show, and I'll put this out there right now. Next week, be here for the Blue Parrot giveaway. We're going to give away the C400 XT next week. I always announce this on the live show only. This will not be announced anywhere else. So no purchase necessary. This is brand new. Look at that. It's still in the package. So that'll be given away next week on the live show. So be there and be ready for it. So, because Blue Parrot sent me a bunch of these to give away to you people. So, you people, like Rush says. All right. It sounds like black smoke matters. Yeah, well, I don't get into the liberal whatever thing here. I try to avoid all of that. I got enough problems as it is. Kevin, what's going on? Let's see if I can get this screen down here to catch up because it's behind, of course. Click a button and see if I can keep up. Here we go. All right, 67 degrees in Phoenix. That's pretty nice. Lawrence, thanks for coming in today. Dustin from New Jersey. Well, that isn't great. You went through the second strike in 82. Yeah, what happened? What came of it? That's a good question. What came of it? Did you get a big raise? I don't think so. I wasn't driving yet. Checking in from Billings, Montana. Wow. I bet, is it colder there than here? I'm not sure about that. Bakersfield, yeah, when is it not windy with all the, at least you get all the power out there for it. There's no gender gap in trucking companies because everyone's underpaid. That's very good. That's very insightful. All right, we're all underpaid evenly at least. It doesn't matter what color you are, what sex you are. Everybody gets underpaid the same amount. Lesser known, happy Monday. Kansas Kid, what's happening today? New company out of Arkansas pays 50 cents on a 1099. I'm out. Truck driver, that's an interesting name. Right, 1099. They can't pay you 1099. You're misclassified, of course. It's 49 in Texas. I guess my picture stuck for a second here, as usual. You're going to buy a used truck, and they have a longer lifespan. Enjoy your used truck at the shop, I say, right? I'm all for, well, maybe if it has a warranty, right? I could do it. Not bad in Billings. The strike won't do anything. I agree with that, because there's only going to be 50 people on strike. You're checking in from Columbus. You're right over there. You got some snow too, because you're not too far from me. Oh, it's 18 in Massachusetts. So about the same as here. Where our company's going to 1099 because they save a ton of money for themselves and let you take all the risk without any benefits to you at all. So, and they're misclassifying you. Don't accept a 1099 at a company if you're a company driver, because if you're driving their truck, they pay for the fuel, They bought the truck. You're an employee. Burn the fuel. Yeah, you need to today. I voted to stay warm. I'm stuck again, right? I don't understand it. I have the thing sitting right here. Look. Your first year driving, they were shooting you and vandalizing. I've heard that, many years ago they were doing that when it was regulated. I don't know if that would happen today. I don't actually think that would happen on the strike today. Because in April, we're supposed to take a day off to go talk to our representatives or whatever. That isn't going to go anywhere, of course. Good afternoon in Glendale. At least it's warm somewhere. They don't have to pay workman's comp. Yeah, they don't have to pay anything. And no insurance, no workers' comp, no unemployment. They get all the benefit and you get all of the nothing by misclassifying you. Forget it. Any place that does that, I'm out immediately. Your father wants to start using his CDL, just doesn't have any experience. What company living in Florida? Yeah, I've done CTL on the show, right? The CCC Comcar companies, they have a lot of C's. Comcar, they'll hire out of Florida with no experience and pay really well, too. Ari Mays is at Dearborn, Michigan, where it's worse than here, but they didn't get as much snow. You had fun driving through the snowstorm, 200 miles. I just made it home and it was just starting to snow. That was super great. Just a little bit of snow coming down. So I blasted in and went home and made it. Didn't leave the house Saturday at all. Strike is in a Friday. Many drivers are, I didn't realize. I never checked the date. They're going to strike on like a holiday or something? Nice. Rick, 1099 because they're crooks. Yes. That's correct. That's the actual reason. Bluish hue is 60 in Valley of the Sun. The Jason Cooper, hello there. David, hi, 72 in Kissimmee. Wow. Bradenton, that's good. Ari, no snow there. It just north of us, we didn't get any snow. A friend of mine lives in Hobart, which is near the lake, and they only got a couple of inches up there. Just learned how to double clutch at 10 speed. Respect for everyone. Yeah, you don't have to do it much, right? Just float them. Just float it. If you just learn to double clutch, learn how to float. Do I ever get small trunk companies following you on Instagram? No, not really. I don't hardly get anybody following me on Instagram. I don't know. Just only a couple hundred people over there, really. So, did a video for Florida. Yeah, Red, because everyone is asking about Florida, and there's not that many companies that hire in Florida. So I tried to find somewhere good down there, and I thought CCC is really, really great, really. So, on all their different divisions and everything. 15 inches in Jacksonville. I did hear that Illinois got worse. The further west you went, the worse it was. So you had like double here. That's crazy. Greetings from the southeast. Enjoying 50 degrees. Nice. That's super nice. Thanks for rubbing that in up here. It's freezing cold up here. I do, if that's actually G&P Trucking, right? Because I never know from the name. People can use a name. So I'm not saying that you are not. I don't know. But I've recommended your company to a number of people that have written to me about the Southeast. What company should I work for over there? And I tell them G&P Trucking. So if that's you, I'm recommending you. If it's somebody that has your name, well, I'm recommending G&P anyway. So there you go. You're kind of for the strike, Peterbilt? Well, it's not going to do any good. I mean, striking the whole country won't do any good. You didn't see a white line the whole trip? I had a little bit of that. I just made it. But we had people that leave way later than me, and they were stuck in it. Gerald is going to join OIDA. It's a bonus for you if you access the registration through my website. I don't have any kind of post like that. Thank you very much. I didn't know that. So 641714 is my registration number there, if that helps you. But I don't have any link through my website to give me any kind of bonus. I didn't even know that. So, but join them anyway. So I do appreciate it. I didn't know that. You can use my number if that helps. 641714. I think you get $10 off for everybody that uses it if someone has recommended you there. So, but don't do it just to give me money, although that's always appreciated, and I don't know if there's any money. Join them anyway. Strike. Watch the teachers get a better contract. Because they're striking in an individual place, it works for the teachers. They take a school and close it. The same way drivers should take a company and close it. One company. So that they have no choice but to talk to you. If you do the whole country, they'll just force you back to work or jail people and tow your trucks away. You do it one company at a time. It works for the teachers. That would work for drivers. Can I do company thoughts on ESOP Big G? I don't know what ESOP Big G is. Good morning, just checked in. All right, we'll get to that in a moment, right? Currently in Crete orientation. What do you think? How are they treating you? What are your first impressions of Crete as you walk in? Because that's going to set the stage for them. So what do you think so far? And I've liked them so far. So you moved to Michigan, couldn't take the humidity into Florida. You're moving the wrong way. You're supposed to move south. We don't move north into Michigan. Could I do a video on different type of trucks, international Freightliner? I don't know. I could, but I don't really have a way to access different trucks like that. You know what I mean? Like we run Cascadias here. So, and I think there's one international, but it would have to be in when I'm there. So it'd be really tough to access one to show the truck in a video. So, write to them. And, I've asked, they had that W900, that new one come out. And I asked them to come in, but nothing. So I guess I'm nobody to them. But I don't have a way to access the trucks. And I think that would be it would have to be part of the deal. Bring back the Teamsters. They just took a big pay cut. So I'm not a huge fan of them. They're not doing what they should do. Okay, Crap Company of the Year. Crap Company of the Year last year. Who won the Crap Company of the Year? CRST won the voting for Crap Company of the Year. Isn't that incredible? Of all the votes, they got the most votes. It was not who I would have voted for, but that's who won it, although they deserve it just as well. So there you go. They won the vote. Hello, Sergeant Sparky. Need to choose between GP, Transco, and DART. Depends what you're trying to do. DART is really hard for me to pin down, because every city, they seem to do like logistics stuff. So there'll be one thing in one city, and they'll have a local job here and a regional job there. So DART seems to have more opportunities for different kinds of things. So that's true. Thomas from Arizona, that you can go talk to Mr. Penske over there. Chris, sorry I'm not able to make it to the 2 streams. That's a problem. We'll let you into this stream though. Missed the 3rd one and you can't vote. That's how the federal thing works, right? Comfortable man, thanks for coming in today. The strike would work if enough trucks do it, and for a full week. The government will step in and try to find out what's going on. No, they'll step in and tell you to go to work or you're going to have a problem. I don't think so. And you will never get enough trucks to stop for a whole week. Most people can't take a week off. They'll be going broke. I've heard you can't be a 1099. You can't be a 1099 truck driver unless you meet the requirements of being a 1099. You need to provide the equipment for a job. Like a plumber is a good example that runs his own business. He comes in and provides the tools of the job, his plumbing tools, and a crack. So those things are provided by him. So you can't do it that way. So if they provide a truck and they buy the fuel, they pay the tolls, they dispatch you, you're not independent. To be independent, you have to be able to set your own schedule, to work when you want, to choose the loads, to decide who fixes the truck. You don't make any of those choices, you're not independent. You're just a company driver. GSXR, greetings. Starting your new job, on your way to Wash to get your new wagon. All right, where are we going? If you want to tell us. Shutting down the highway, that's a super bad idea. You'll get arrested for that. You should strike for a minimum pay standard. The problem is the government doesn't pay here. The government can't set a pay for everybody. Everybody already gets more than minimum wage, even though they don't believe they do, because it's only $600 and some for 70 hours. So you're already making more than that, or easily could. So setting a minimum wage, you're not going to want that. You don't really want the government to set your wage. Not much new people in your class, just 7 people. Oh, good. That way you get more food. I hope they're feeding you too. Yeah, don't believe a strike would work. It would not, Mad Melody. It's not going to work at all. Your company just got a Kenworth W900. No, no way. I've asked Kenworth when that new one came out, the 990 or whatever. That's what he should have said. If I could come and see it, and never heard back from him. I thought, oh yeah, you're going to see it. No. Huh. It's called disorientation. Exactly. Depending who's teaching it, as they say, teaching the orientation, usually a lot of videos and stuff that you don't need to watch. You're thinking about UPS, you have your endorsements, and oh, you've been 5 years B and 10 years, they'll take you. I'm sure UPS would hire you. And it would be good pay, and all your time would be paid. 1 to 10, what's bar none? Bar none is way up there, right? 10 is like the perfect company where I set all my own schedule. So I don't give anybody more than a 9. But look, bar none is excellent pay. They're advertising for teams at over 100,000. Who would I vote for crap company of the year? I don't like England. I just don't like people in a truck. I don't like their training. I don't like it. So for me, England, I think is the worst place. You know, very close with May because I don't like buying fuel. But just the training, they're just not in it for training. They're not in it to train people, it would seem like. There are guys striking when they go to jail for what they believe in. Not enough drivers are going to do that. No way. Owner-operators get their trucks towed off the road, then what? Light Bright. Yeah, it's good to have you back in here. Who do I work for? Okay, somebody asks us every show. I always say that, right? I don't tell people who I work for. That keeps them out of my videos. And I also don't recruit for them. So they have a recruiting bonus. I don't get it because I don't recruit for them like you see many people on YouTube doing. And so I can say whatever I want without them being bothered by my videos. And we just keep at arm's length like that. So I don't tell people where I work. Although now it's getting close to 17 years that I've been at my company. So it's an okay place. Is it true if you pay for your CDL with a credit card, a lot of truck companies will not offer tuition? You know, I've called a few places and you need some kind of bill. And so if you've paid it in full and you don't have a payment, it is true that some places will not offer tuition reimbursement. It's crazy, but that's true. Because one place I said, oh, I just got my license, you know, but I paid for it myself. And they're like, no, if you're not making payments, you can't get reimbursement. So yeah, so if you're going to do that, ask around first. You may be better off, you know, financing it and paying each payment on your credit card bill. Really. So it's really does happen. Joshua, you're punished for being late. You're not too late, so only a single demerit at this point. You're starting with a local guy with a few trucks hauling cattle. Oh, that's interesting. No more sitting. Yeah, we shouldn't sit at all. Yeah, you're not going to sit at a ship or a receiver with that load. Huh. What do I know about Frontier in Indiana? Not much here. I've never heard of them. Well, I think I've seen their trucks around. Kevin agrees with England. Better than the strike. Maybe we should quit their job and go look for a job 1 week later. Yeah, everybody could get a sign-on bonus. Oh, that'd be interesting. Everybody quit all at one time. How are mail carriers? Well, at least in Indianapolis, I've seen a lot of these ads. They'll advertise like $28 an hour or $30 an hour. But when you look into it, it's $5 of it, $4.50 to $5 an hour of it is insurance that goes towards your insurance. So you're really getting $24, $25 an hour, which is not terrible, you know, but that's how it works. So at least here it's hourly and you have a set schedule. Worth looking into if that'd be something you'd want to do. If strike wouldn't work, what will keep drivers in the seat and computers in the back seat? What will keep drivers? Drivers are going to be in the seat for quite some time. Newer trucks don't have a long lifespan as an older truck. Well, the old truck used to be a new truck at some point. It was not Wild Bill. Yeah, I haven't seen him. I don't know what happened to him. But I agree with you. Maybe he'll come in later. The topic is this trucker strike that is going to go on in April. That's been all over the news. We're trying to see if that's a good idea, and are all you going to strike on that day? I think it's April 12th. And I have a link in the description to the article in the Trucker if you want to go read the article about it. The cattle are dying. Yikes. I never sit and wait doing what I do end up. That's good. Does that pay hourly? Anything about mag carriers? No, I never heard of them. Never charged for over idle. You had 67%. So that is correct. Some people get charged and some don't. A number of people sent me their check. So I guarantee you, I know they charge some people for it because I've seen it on the checks. So they don't charge everybody. I agree. You have to send some kind of message or whatever. I don't like that. Why'd I have to send a message to my mom to be comfortable? Last night it was 8 here. I would just expect to be able to run the truck. not send a message. And by the way, they're the only place doing it. I've never seen anyone else doing it. Is cattle hauling worth it? Yeah, let's find that out. You have a cell phone violation. What the heck is that? Talking on the phone? Is that going to be a problem for me? It depends. So is that a moving violation? Meaning, is it on your record? So if it's on your record, you'll have to put it down. Usually they say one violation in so much time. So it depends if it's on your record. Is it on your record? Zeke, hey, peace out there. What's happening? Black smoke. Yeah, I don't know about that. A pre-DEF truck. That's an old, that's going to be an old truck then. The DEF is keeping the trucks in the shop? Maybe. Depends. We've had some that are go, and then mine hasn't had any problems. You changed your channel name, working on keto for everyone, make it trucker friendly. All right, let's do it. Put that info out here. We're all trying to do that this year. Roger's been watching Ruger for 2 weeks. To follow the DOT regulations, you would see a difference. Totally. Just follow the rules, and that solves everybody's problem. Let a load sit 6 minutes away from somewhere for 10 hours and see how fast stuff changes. You don't have to go through all this goofy stuff. And some of the stuff that they wanted on this person, it's not Black Smoke Matters. It's another group who I can't think of at the moment. They're talking, we want to be able to split our sleeper. You can already split your sleeper. Okay, well, something else he said, we don't spend 10 hours in the sleeper berth. We want to be able to take part of that time and not be in the sleeper. You can take whatever time you want, not in the sleeper. You don't have to spend 10 hours in the sleeper. You just have to get 10 hours off duty and sleeper berth, or any combination of the two, as long as they're uninterrupted. So some of the things that the group wants, they already have and don't even realize it. So they're going to strike for something they've already got. So it's just crazy. You got to at least know what you're talking about if you're going to strike. Let's see. So where am I at here? The company you work paid $30 an hour. That's nice. I don't want to run logbooks because they don't leave a 100-mile radius. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Right. You're within the radius, but to do that, they have to release you within 12 hours and keep records of it. So, and they should pay you overtime, but 30 is still good. But I think they should pay overtime. They're not required to. Keep that in mind. You can still get 30 straight time. But 60 hours, that'd be 12 hours a day, is $1,800. Yeah, it goes around every year, so it's going to be a flop exactly. Somebody's trying to strike every year, never happens, and then they strike the next year. You'll take your strike at home with family. They said stay home, see your representative, do something peaceful, don't block the highway. That is what they said. No one will tell you to strike when you have bills to pay. Exactly. They asked everybody to be off, but then they're not going to pay everybody's bills, right? So that's not going to happen. Is there any benefit for company driver when filing your taxes? Not anymore. We used to get a per diem, but that ended at the beginning of last year. So there's going to be a lot of surprised people coming up. So there's not as many benefits as you want. If you can itemize, you can take off, expenses. But most people without the per diem are not going to be able to itemize their taxes just for gloves and stuff like that, because they doubled the actual exemption. What's the latest on Black Smoke Matters? It smoked away, and there's this new group that wants to strike next year. They've made better looking trucks, but looks don't pay the bills. If you wait 2 hours and don't get paid, just drop the trail and go fishing, come back. Yeah, you should get paid. I've always said that. Get paid. But Smoke Matters. Yeah, I don't do any more hair follicle questions to anybody. We don't need a 10-hour break, but you have a 10-hour break, and their point was you don't want to spend 10 hours in the sleeper, was what their point was. We can't, but you don't have to spend 10 hours in the sleeper. You can spend it wherever you want. Yeah, that is trucking. 8 hours is plenty. That's how it used to be, right? For everybody that was been driving for a while, you used to only need an 8-hour break, and you have a 15-hour day. Those were the days, right? As everybody says. Hey, Adco, what's happening? It's good to see you out here. Are you going to be striking during the strike here in April? Probably not. Most people won't. There'll be 100 people like there were at the last one. Moving into a new Cascadia. Wow, 2019. They changed the steering wheel around. I like it. It's flat. Detroit and a Detroit automatic 12-speed. Yeah, that's basically what I have in an older model. I hope you enjoy it. It does as long as they gear it out good, it does very good on fuel. The politicians don't listen to the truckers because there's not enough of you. They only listen to where the money is, let's be honest about it. And so these large groups, ATA and that, they have a lot of money to throw. There just aren't enough. There's only 700,000 members or something in OOIDA. So there's just not enough drivers to overcome all the money from these large corporations. So it's a real problem. They should get rid of the 70-hour clock, yeah, and make it shorter. Is that what you're saying, I hope? Strike. How can you strike and make 75,000? Drivers just want to cheat on the laws. Right. Just run legal. Just run. Why don't drivers ever want to do that? They'll take an entire week off, but then they won't run legal. It doesn't make any sense. You can't afford to, right? When is the pay going up? The pay will go up when your company gives you a raise. And that's not some kind of smart answer. I mean, the government can't raise our pay. So it depends when your company is going to give you a raise. That's when your pay will go up, basically. Or when you decide that what you're making is not enough and you can get a significant raise somewhere else. I mean, that is how it works in America. We can't strike and ask the government to raise our pay. The government doesn't set our pay. So because of that, they have no way to raise the pay. So there is company Mountain Milk a good company? I don't know. What do they pay? And is it going to fit what you want to do with your life? Let's see. I lost 20 from your tax return due to company paying per diem. Mad Maldy, if you don't watch the way that you have your taxes set up, when the company starts paying per diem, you have to get on top of it and make sure they're not withholding too much. You know, I'm not a tax expert. You'd have to look at, there's forms you can check into and put all the money in and see what you should be withholding. But if they start paying per diem, anybody that switches to per diem, make sure they're not withholding too much or not enough, and you have a big tax problem. And you'll have to talk to a tax expert about that kind of thing. But be very careful when you switch back and forth like that your withholding is correct, or you could owe thousands of dollars to the government. You dig your strike on your 34, that sends a message. Yeah, you told them. Huh. Spend some time taking a walk on a 10-hour break. Yeah, why not get out there and do a little bit of walking, right? Do something on your 30-minute break. Do something. Fraley and Schilling. I've seen them all over the place. Listing while unloading in Moline, no strike. You run legal under glider guidelines. Yes, now you do, right? What's going on in Moline anyway? I bet it's cold up there too. Government could take mile pay and switch to hours-based pay. The government has no say on that. There's no reason. It's not mandated now that you get paid by the mileage. In fact, I know some over-the-road drivers that get paid on the clock. And I actually had one company, JAT, which I found, pays on the clock. So easy. So you owe $6,000. Well, from my experience many years ago, they will take payments at least, and you can work something out with them. So, and right now they're all off anyway. So it can be done that way. You shouldn't pay anything since the government shut down. Isn't it funny? They won't pay the money out, but then they want their money to come in. I love it. How much should truckers get paid? I personally think a road driver should get $2,000 a week. If you have to be gone from your family, I think $100,000 is nice. Now, most places don't pay it, but that's what I think. Certainly 75. If you're going to be gone all week or more away from your family, 75 to 100,000. Certainly. It is a bummer on the 6,000. You can work it out with them. Offer them less. They will work with you. They seem like they won't, but they will work with you. Well, you're gonna have to wait until they come back around when they get back to work. Deregulation would allow the mega carriers. Yes, that's exactly why I started right at the end of that, right when they were getting through that, and that's why we can get paid whatever they want us to get paid. If you're making under 60, it's time to move around. Yeah, depending what you're doing. I always say that, people stay at a place that may pay less because it serves them in some other way. So it doesn't necessarily matter what you get. Is the company serving your needs, your personal needs? Maybe they get you home at a certain time, or they have a thing that you like doing, or their insurance is really good, and so you really need the insurance coverage. There are reasons people might stay. But if you feel like you're being cheated or not paid enough, and you're looking around the industry and want to do something else, then it's time to move on. The government isn't the one that would decide that for you, certainly. Danny, no strike, slow down and run legal? Exactly. Why are we not just running legal? People want to run illegal and then take a day off and strike. And if everybody that's going to strike, you watch these guys, that week before that, they'll probably put 6,000 miles on and not run a logbook. UPS trucks don't have logos on them. That's because they have a deal with Mac. I've never seen one without a logo on it. It's always why they scrap their trailers and trucks, because Mac said if they do, they get very cheap trucks. I always heard that, and I saw a TV show about this, that UPS scraps their trucks, which is true, including all their delivery trucks, because they don't want them being used out there in the, like people using it, thinking it's UPS and using it for robberies or whatever. But I've never seen a UPS truck that doesn't have a logo on it, even a semi. With different pay packages, people can find what they want. So why do people want to strike? Yes, they watched Convoy. Because it's the 40th anniversary of Convoy. Right. You can just move around. I mean, it's a pain. It is a pain. So be sure. Oh, and people asked about this last week, I think. Why not put these questions on the website? I did at truckinganswersnation.com. There's a page of questions to ask a company that you're looking into. And it's not every question you should ask, because there's always different questions. But it's a good list of questions to get started asking a company. People ask for it, so it's up there. Don't pay $10.99, they won't find it. Well, when you get paid $10.99, remember, they send a thing to the government about how much you made. ADCO, good number? I think so. I mean, that just seems reasonable that if you're going to be gone, you should be well compensated for it. You leave your whole family, your whole life behind. You can't be joining your dart tournament in case any of you are in that, because you'd be gone. And that would be a travesty. You feel better, you're at 70 and home daily. Right. So, but here's the thing. If say there was another job by you that paid 80, but you have to decide then. Maybe what you're doing gets you home at a certain time, and this other job, you have to work nights. Or, there's a million different things it could be. And so because this one suits your needs, it's worth it to stay. Because you make less doesn't mean that, you should leave automatically because somebody gives you $5 more somewhere else. It may suit your needs to stay where you are. Not everybody needs the same things in trucking. The only way you get caught is if you're audited. Yeah, that's true. That's a huge risk. They'll get around to you eventually. Exactly. I mean, I would never say that to anybody, and that's true. Not just because they probably monitor every kind of internet thing, but just pay up your legit taxes and be done with it. Don't have to worry about, they won't catch me unless they audit me. I don't live in my life like that. Truckers are getting tired of mega cares. I don't know. They keep going to them. Politicians ruin the industry. Politicians ruin everything. That's the big problem. I don't talk about politics, but if the government is closed, they should not get a paycheck. None of them. How about that? Their truck stop. That would get them back in there. Cheating in the law is like cheating your wife. You get caught in the end. Yes. Don't do either one. How about that? Oh, thanks, Ivone. I appreciate it. I wonder if anybody had seen those, so I didn't announce them. It's a good list of questions, I think, to get started. So I appreciate it that you've seen that. You need a truckers president? Okay. Maybe that guy from Black Smoke Matters last year could run. I think he's got time on his hands. More than 5 million people need to pay taxes so you can get a... Yeah. Why are we still have to pay? When the government closes, all the withholding should have ended too. That would get him back in time. That would get him back. Fix the roads. Trump can't get money for the wall. Well, the problem is that, the roads, a lot of the roads are done by the states. And Indiana, as we all know, has some of the best roads in the country. Voted some of the roads in the country. Truckers do not spread the word to newbies what exactly they're getting into when it comes to mega companies. They need to be convinced. Well, once you're somewhere, and that's what we've been trying to figure out, once you're at a place and have a contract, you're kind of stuck. And so being able to spread the word to people before they get to truck school, is interesting. And that been asking people that have been writing me, which everyone can write to me, mark@truckinganswersnation.com. I answer all my emails. And so new people that have had questions have asked me, and I say, hey, let me ask you, how did you get into whatever company you went to? And generally, 80% of them or so have said it's because of an ad that I saw. So they say, oh, this company kept running an ad, and I saw it a few times and signed up. So that's how they're getting into these companies. I haven't found too many people that did a lot of research beforehand. So that is a real problem. Doing the research beforehand, it would be better for people, but you can't get to people if they're not out looking for information. So that's a real disaster. So many owner-operators of small companies, including Aero Trucking, went out of business. Aero Trucking had another problem in that the owner who went to jail for this, right, was they were doing a bunch of funny stuff with the money and everything, and so he ended up in jail with it. So that was Aero's problem. Indiana takes good care of their roads in a snowstorm. Yeah, I don't know if you're sarcastic or not, because I always did find that the toll road was pretty well taken care of. The only road in Indiana that they take care of. There's California where roads are desert dirt road. California, probably better than here. We get a little salt down, and they were spraying all this beet juice salt out all over the place on Friday. So, it helped with the roads, but it ruins the roads later. Your taxes pay for the DOT officer's salary. Yes, that is correct. We still have to pay them, right? I would never tell anyone not to pay their taxes, regardless of the fact that the IRS would probably storm in here and stop me anyway. I do think that you should be paid. You're just better off. Leave them out of it. They have the ultimate power. You can't bankrupt them. You can't ever get out of it. Just, you're better off paying it, really. I really think so, right? Virginia wants to put a toll on I-81. They're trying to toll I-65 right here in Indiana. They just can't figure out how to do it. They're looking into it, thought, oh, it's going to be a big problem. Look, I agree. M. Gomez, right, that they are going to they'll toll 81, 65. I think they'll all turn into toll roads eventually. The less exits, the faster it's going to be to toll it, because they're going to have to close it off like a toll road so that you can get on and off. Until they figure out an electronic way, it'll just hang over the road, kind of like the bridge to Kentucky from Indiana on I-65. So you go back and forth on that, and you just drive under it. There's nobody there. You saw an ad for YRC training. Yes, Yellow has a training program. You don't need any experience, and you can go to Yellow, and they'll train you and put you in a YRC freight truck, and you can start making money. That is true. You can be home every day your whole life, mostly. And there you go, Arrow, proof tax evasion doesn't work. Exactly. That guy, remember that? I'm sure you remember. That guy, I don't know if he's still in jail. I don't remember his name. That guy, which was so aggravating, he used to drive a Bentley to work too. So he didn't raise anybody's pay. There was a picture of it. I saw it. And this guy's driving a Bentley Arnage to work. I mean, come on. Really? You're going to drive a Bentley to work and then not pay me? Hey, Michael, what's happening? Thanks for coming in. Let's see. Chat jail. It can happen. It's going to happen on here, right? Let's keep it clean on here. There's other channels if you want to talk about, different stuff. Truckers used to have fun. It's so competitive. Yeah, it's a problem, right? The bigger you get, the more problems you get. How many years ago was trucking fun? Trucking is fun. I mean, you really got to like it. But, trucking is fun. It's still fun. It pays the bills. It's enjoyable. There are problems. Any job you go to is going to be a problem. You want to sit in a desk in an office with pictures of your kids up. Hey, Bruce, what time's lunch? I don't know. Where should we go to lunch today? That isn't any good either. I mean, that's probably worse. YRC is union. It's a good company. But you're going to get paid for all your time at YRC. Certainly. Let's see. So paying taxes and financing your pet. Yes, I'd put that up, and maybe that's what we're talking about. But who finances their pet? You can lease a dog now. Don't do that. You got to pay your taxes. It's just as simple as that. Peterbilt, yeah, because your whole family's been into trucking, right? Mm-hmm. First question, why does a truck company owner drive a Bentley? Yes. The real question is, even if you were the owner and you had a Bentley, would you drive it to work in front of all these other people? And then say, oh, well, I don't know if we can give you a raise. And you're like, well, you have a $200,000 car up front. It just doesn't make any sense. You know, somebody like that is doing something funny. And they eventually got that company, but it closed down and ruined hundreds of drivers' lives. Many people that were leasing trucks at that place lost their trucks. Because remember, when you lease a truck, it isn't your truck, it's owned by the leasing company. So people that could not eventually make the payment, they gave them so many days to pay for the truck. If you couldn't do it, they came and got your truck. It's a huge deal. Tax evasion is the only way they caught Capone. That's right. They got Capone because of taxes. That's the only thing he ever got busted for. All the other stuff, which he is apparently innocent of, right, in America, because he didn't do it. If he isn't convicted of it, everyone's innocent. So he didn't get busted for any of that. So easy. Only thing he ever did wrong was tax evasion legally. That's all we could ever say. You saw Max Superliner Wrecker. Wow, how old is that thing? Wow. That's been rebuilt like 6 times. Rick, I don't know. That's for another place, right? Because that'll start a firestorm. So none of that goes on here, certainly. Trucking is the best. You have a degree in management and you make more from your CDL. Yes, Michael, people don't realize their degree is just going to get them a job, a job, just over broke, right? And so you're just going to go to work. You're going to talk about what you're going to do for lunch. Wait till Friday, as Dave Ramsey said, can't wait till Friday, and then, oh no, it's a Monday already. You know, that isn't any kind of life. Go do something that you enjoy. If it's trucking, then go do trucking. The money is just a sidestep of it. I mean, that's the better part of it, that it's something that's fun. You don't have somebody hanging over you every day, and it's a great job that pays well with good insurance. Didn't think the Freightliner came out with the Cascadia. They've been out for a while. The Cascadia is not an '08, though. I think that was a Columbia. Bentley doesn't cost that much. You got one for 60. Your company there. This got a new Bentley. Okay, this is you can buy a used one. Actually, I'm a big car nut, right? I've talked about this. I've gone to Jaguar driving events and stuff. And a few years ago, I almost bought a Rolls Royce here, but it was from the '70s, and it was like 10,000 or something. Is all it was. So, so you can get them used, no problem. But I ended up not getting it. But I looked at getting a Rolls Royce. You left your house, had my tag and brake drives frozen. You broke 3 of the 4. You burned up a drive car, and you may be held responsible for the cost. What do I think? Well, you got to get your hammer out, and it's hammer time, right? Your tag, although the tag, you burned up a drive car, may be held responsible for the cost. I don't know if they could charge you for it. I think you're right. Looking at you're a company driver, they can't really charge you for the cost of it legally, unless you've agreed to this. So depending what you signed when you start there, you might be able to be charged for it, depending on what you signed. But should they? No, they can fire you for it. But charging you for it, I don't think so. Baylor, yeah, Baylor's looking good out there. Smith, all people ask about the Smith out here. They're not that big of a place. I mean, do they hire that many people around the country? Missed the beginning, Trucker Hershey. There's demerits for that. Did I get snow? Yeah, 7.1 inches. Picture of Trucking Answers Mobile Unit 1 is on Instagram. You can check it out over there. So we had 7.1 here in one day. It's all cleared up now. Interstate running good out here. 65's dry. It was closed yesterday for like 5 hours because of a huge accident. Trucking can be a good career if you're patient, because the money will come. Yes. And then there's always more money and there's something different to do. And as your life changes, you can change what you do in trucking. Are there backing YouTubes for trucking? Like backing videos? I've thought about that, but it's really hard to show that in a video, I think. There are people that show it. I don't do it, because I think it's kind of an individual thing. Different people are having different troubles backing. So I don't do them, but yeah, I'm sure there's videos for that. There's videos for everything. But backing is kind of a practice, literally. Just keep practicing. When you're free in the back of a truck stop, go back there and just back into a spot 50 times. So what? People look at you, so what? Let them look. You see their trucks all the time, and they run a lot of those nice Peterbilts. Yeah, that's not Peterbilts don't pay though necessarily the bills. What do they pay? Just another almost that we're not the nice channel. Okay, there are other channels. Transport America and ATS. I've been interested. Anderson Trucking Service. Let's see. So that's Anderson, right? Don't they? They do a lot of leasing there, right? I think. I think ATS does leasing. Let's see. Yeah, because I've seen them running around, and you got to pay. Never. I don't ever really recommend a lease at a place. I haven't seen a good lease place. Backing is part of learning. I would never get over, but time you got better. Yes, some people, it takes a little longer to get it, but once you've got it, and I think just practicing. I think that you may watch videos, but it's hard to convert a video to something that you're doing. You know, I think on something like that. So backing is more practice, and it would really help if you could practice with somebody that could help you to say, all right, this is what you're doing wrong, because you don't want to practice the same thing that you're doing incorrectly. So it would be really helpful if they had a trainer or something that you could do where you backed up and they go, oh, this is what you're doing wrong right here. And that's what you need to change. It may be just one little thing that you need to change, really. But we'd have to see you to see it. Thank you, Ivone. I appreciate that. But we can't get the snow off the top. There are some states that have these things you can drive under. I've seen them at some Walmart distribution centers that brush the snow off the top of the truck. Otherwise, you just kind of drive out there, and that'll be it. Today, I'll go in, and I'm sure it'll be a blizzard for 15 minutes. Why not? It's 13. No, don't get up there. If you want to get up there with a push room, no. Do not climb up there. Don't get a ladder out. I've seen people with a ladder. Don't do that. Okay, it's super unsafe. There's places you can drive under. You could, I guess, theoretically go to Blue Beacon and have them wash it off. Please do not try to push the snow off the top of your truck with a broom. Don't do that. You're going to get yourself killed. And Josh is right, and plus it's probably unpaid unless you're on the clock somewhere. Just get it from point A to point B. Yeah, the wind will take the snow off the truck. Within a couple days, it's going to be in the mid-30s here. It'll all melt off. Please, I'm begging you, do not get up there and brush it off the top of the truck. You didn't get good at backing until you hit 60 docks a day doing LTL. I think that's what my benefit was. And not like I'm some great backer or whatever, but my first job out of truck school was local Chicago. So for economy transport, for which the guy had 2 semis and 2 straight trucks. And the straight trucks were Mercedes, by the way, which I'd never seen before. Anyhow, so I was doing 20 or 30 stops a day in Chicago right out of truck school. So that's great. So that way I was able to learn backing quickly. When you're backing in off of Western Avenue, holy mackerel, you can get backed in quickly because you have to learn. You have no choice. So that worked out good. Too bad they don't have backup cameras on trailers. And Ivona's testing them. Why haven't they had them to this point? Why can't they put a little camera back there when it's in a car? And if you're testing them, have you used one yourself, Ivona, and what do you think of it? Does the screen help? Or, because I see some of these, especially Peterbilt people, open the door up and hang their whole head out there. So I guess so they can look around their gigantic stacks or whatever. So the camera is not going to do that much good. Are you either looking out the back, out the window, or are you looking at the camera? So I don't know if that will help that much. In a car, it's different. And so even so, you get used to looking at it in the car. Because the wife, she has the camera. And so now when we drive that, I look at that camera. Instead of really looking out, it takes you a second to decide what you're going to do. My car, older, right, which is Trucking Answers Unit 1, in the picture there, does not have a camera. So I actually have to look around. If you're using them, what do you think? Is it going to help people? Will it help new drivers? Will they only get used to using a camera? What do you think of it? That's great. I'd love to know about that. Manus Express starts at 65 cents. That's really good. What city and state are they from? Peter, right. Good looking hunk. Yes. Is 11 hours only hauling still? You can still drive for 11 hours. Yes. Apparently, it's just a matter of time. That's correct. Or I'll do it. One of the two, right? You back up in high gear just to keep a challenge. That's not a bad idea, although you can get a lot of trouble with that. But backing up in high gear, I always wondered why they put that on there. And I'm sure everybody that's been driving anytime has tested it. You can go pretty darn fast backwards. So, as I remember, I was at some dock and he goes, oh, it's down there, like 30 docks. And I'm like, backing straight up. That's an actual noise that the truck made too. So that's great. Most Canadians have those snow brushes in their terminals. We have one in the yard that you can just drive under because you do not want people walking up there. I'm being attacked by the cat here. Back up, right. A lot of shuttle returning to keep your OTR guys running. So you did a lot of backing and dropping and hooking. That's the way to do it, right? Does everybody agree, I think? There's no other way to learn backing than to just practice backing up. Is probably the best way. You can watch videos about it, but I think you just have to get out there and do it. And if you're at a truck stop, go in the back and back up if you got some time. Pull out, back up, just really. Barnum pays good. Barnum, do they have their own trucks? Hauling all those animals around, right? So it helps, but you get out and look. Okay, so that's the thing. Is it worth it then? So if you still get out and look, or you still have to look out the window, what is the benefit of the camera? I guess it would show that you're closer to the dock. So that would help. If you're still turned out this way, though, the camera's got to be over here on the dashboard. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't used one. I'd like to use one. You should do a video about it and post it. I think that'd be great. Oh, high backing is the gear you can unload at a place with no dock. Yes, especially if you have a roller floor, right? Lift the rollers, and there you go, and unload it. Oh, Manis is out of Lockport, Illinois, right out of Chicago. Nice. Bluish hue, you just like waiting at the shipper. Yes, you should get paid for that time, and it wouldn't be so bad, right? If everybody got paid for all of their time, waiting would be a moot point. So I personally think drivers should get paid hourly. That's what I think. Plus overtime for all of your time. You'd never worry about what you were logging. Every day there are more restrictions on where you can park. Yeah, that is actually a big issue. This fake driver shortage isn't, but where we can park, that's a problem. They are not building parking. They just announced they're closing 2 more rest areas on I-64 in Indiana, but nobody's got any more parking. So what are they, where's everybody supposed to park? That's why I really encourage everyone as much as possible to get on a dedicated run if they can. Even at these large carriers, look, they're not totally bad. You can go to a large carrier, get on a Walmart account or some other account and park at the locations, or find a place that does a dedicated run so that you don't have to worry about parking. Some of the problems that people have can be solved by just switching what we do. And then you can solve that problem yourself. Parking is going to be tons of time before they build thousands of parking spots year after year after year, years. You could solve that problem right now, maybe even at the company you already work for, by switching to a dedicated run. You wouldn't have to switch companies. Find a place that has parking in the run, built into the run itself. Blindside camera might be good. Hey, KAW, what's going on? Even a beeping sound before you hit something. Yeah, that would be great. The cars have them. There's no reason a sensor couldn't be put out for that. Used to back up in high gear and slam on the brakes to get field tile to unload on a flatbed. Yikes. They just drop right off the back of it. Blew a shoe, you're early. Yeah, okay, well, you can only get paid after your time, I'm sure, right? All over the road should be drop and hook. I totally agree. They should have drop yards where local drivers take and sit at all these shippers on the clock, and over the road drivers take the load over the road like it's supposed to be. The reason they don't do that, remember, is partially our problem, right? Driver's problem, because we sit around at the docks for no charge. So they have no incentive to pay someone to do it on the clock, a local driver who's going to want to get paid, when over the road drivers will sit there for free. We've created our own problem that we have to solve. No tax money to keep rest stops open. The only thing they need to build is a gigantic parking spot. You go down and see all these fields, right? Especially places that are undeveloped. They're not even a field of anything. It's just a field of whatever. Just pave it and put in 500 parking places. You need the small mom and pop truck stops. They can't afford to stay open because they have to keep cleaning out the back lane of their place among all the other costs that are involved in a truck stop. You know, the insurance must be incredible, and they're really. Texas has mom and pops. There's not as many as there used to be, certainly. Maybe we could bring the 76 back. You believe in leaving the parking open and rest areas close to the facility? Yeah. Why aren't they just closing the building? Board up the building then and leave the parking spots. The truck drivers throw trash everywhere. Yes. And see, that's the problem. So if they leave the buildings closed, drivers just throw their trash out their door. And somebody's got to go pick that up. And you know some of that trash contains things that people don't want to pick up, okay, that you really shouldn't be even throwing away in a trash bag. Let's be honest about it. There's really no reason for that. I really don't even have to say that on here. Most people on here are respectful drivers, but you know, only a few drivers, and it ruins it for everybody. And that's true of everything, including trucking. It isn't every driver, certainly not. But how many drivers does it take throwing out a bag of unwanted waste before you're not welcome there? They go, we don't want any drivers here. Some of the early Model 379s had a push button start. Nice. Yeah, I've had push button start. You know, you turn the key, hit a black button right next to it. Turn it, thumb it. Right, no problem. That's pretty common. Okay, Keto, thanks for stepping in and getting your teeth picked on. Yikes. They always say, oh, don't worry, that doesn't hurt. And then it super hurts. Ricky Harvey's dedicated drop and hook. You love it. Yes. So would you recommend that to other people? And does that help solve your parking issues? I would say probably does. What do you think? The working man is his own worst enemy. He can be. It doesn't take that many of us to get all of us banned from somewhere. 2.5 days early, getting paid probably detention for 2 days. That's good and unusual. Usually when you get early, and that's most places, don't pay you because you're early. Monica, exactly. A few drivers, and they're like, forget it. Because look, you pick a couple of bags up, you don't want to pick any more bags up. So they're like, forget it, you can all leave. It's just ridiculous. There was a guy on the island just the other day, Fuel Island, going to bathroom. I'm like, hey, go inside or I'm going to call them. Oh, what are you talking about? It's just crazy. Is it okay to pee in a bottle on the road if there are no rest stops? If there's no rest stops, you know, what you do in your truck is one thing, and what you leave on the side of the road is another thing. So that's better than nothing. Only like big truck stops. Yeah. I would rather have a larger place that has more amenities. And that has more business too. And I think the fuel's better. I do the same with a car. You don't want to pull in some place where they only pump 200 gallons a day of diesel, right? It's stale or whatever, has an expiration. So you watch signs, no litter on the interstate, right? $2,500 fine. Every sign had trash around it. They trash the signs. That's great. Container drivers, it's not just container drivers. We're not just going to blame any certain hauler for the trash, certainly. Some drivers don't dump it out. Well, that's better than, I think it's better contained than dumped, okay? Lease the building to McDonald's. That's a good idea. Why don't they say, look, for $1, a private company can come in and lease this, and then you take the responsibility of it. Yeah, that's a great idea too. We already have a building set up here for you, $1 a year. Stay out of the pots. You need a place to park. Well, so you're saying that's a good deal you have, but you're not allowed to park at the places you drop and hook? You always throw your trash away. Most people do. I'm not saying everybody doesn't throw out their trash. Most people throw it out. But how many does it take? If you owned a business and you had to send people out, or it was you, and how many of those things would you have to pick up before you're like, forget it, I don't want any drivers in here? Not many. Not many. You send your kid, he or she goes to their job, and they go, oh, I work at Walmart, and you know what I do? I pick up all these bags of, human waste every day. How long are you going to let your kid work there? Steve McConnell, getting in a little late. Wow, 2:00, 2 demerits. You should get a medal for doing that. Yes. Everybody likes to beat up container drivers. Look, everybody's a driver. I don't know why there's always been that in trucking. Oh, you're a local driver, or they always used to do this to the pup drivers. You're not a real driver. You drive a pup around town, and then you're not a real driver because you're not out 3 months. Everybody's a driver. What is the problem? Who cares that that guy's home, this guy's gone? We all drive. Everybody's making a living. We're all out here to make a living. We all got to follow rules. We got to make a living, right? They're not a driver. They're a driver too, just like everybody else, certainly. Don't smaller truck stops treat their drivers like family, give them more respect? It depends. It depends. You can go, there are a lot of nice, large truck stops. The Loves, they gave me a Christmas card at the Loves. Okay, the crew that I go in and see every day, and that's a Loves. So it just depends, It's the people that work there. It's not the truck stop, certainly. One advantage of a truck stop is no mega carriers tear your bumper off. Yes, that's exactly it. Pilot J is probably where most of the companies fuel, the large companies. So if you can avoid those, you can stay away from a lot of the trucks. There's more parking, there's less trucks, so there's less accidents. Yes, I think so. Why don't you have recycling truck stops? Well, I don't know. Do you think drivers would use it? That's a question. Why don't replace the internals with metal? We are machines in this. It's coming, but you got a few decades before you're replaced with a Terminator. It's going to come. Why don't they have recycling, though? Drivers wouldn't do it. I don't think they would do it. They need to take speed limiters off of company trucks. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Holy mackerel. They should at least be able to go the speed limit, which I've maintained always. Because everybody should run about the same speed. That's OIDA commissioned this big study years ago. The problem with accidents was interactions. And so an interaction they considered when everybody would pass somebody. That's one interaction. The less of those, less accidents. Everybody went the same speed, less accidents. That's how it worked. Take them off after a few months. They should maybe raise it, right? 70. We could see 70, I think. That's how you feel about calling people a steering wheel holder. Yeah, look, I think everybody's out here driving. It doesn't matter what you drive. A Class A is a Class A. So a guy drives a pup around town and makes 40 stops every day. He's got to back in 40 times. You think that's easy? It isn't. Some drivers have the IQ of a tomato plant. That is giving the tomato plant a lot of credit, as they would say. That's not a driver-specific quality, yes. It does help traffic, I agree. Josh, that BC tomato plants are smart. Yeah, how many does it take, right, to ruin something? Not many at any industry. You haven't had any accidents since you started working. That's excellent. And you're still stuck at 60. That's really low. I mean, that's low. I don't know who's running 60. Main reason you would find to leave is but dispatcher's awesome. I mean, you're still stuck at 60. You mean 60,000 or 60 miles an hour? Let's put it that way. If it's 60, that's some of the lowest I've seen. The back road truck stop so flooded with lot lizards? No. Or people selling drugs? No. No way. No way. Truck tire speeds are rated at 75. Okay, K. Wayne, then we'll say 75 would be speed limiter. How is that? That would be good then. That would at least get people down the road. You actually have Martin near your home and a boss here that you're looking into. Yeah, look, immediate detention pay, and I did that video with a different with the laptop cam. But immediate detention, they have all these extra pays. Yeah, I love it. Give them a call and interrogate them, as I said on there, and see what they have to say. What can they offer you near your house that you want? Josh has been driving for 80 years. That's awesome. So you're up 10 million saved miles. That's good. I'd like to see the patch for that. There's a picture of a trucker doing things at his trailer. Send it to me. Would you send that to me, Mark at truckinganswersnation.com? I'd love to see that picture. We'll put it in the gallery, which I have on there. Companies are trying to gadget their way out of lack of experience in new drivers, and new drivers pay the price. Yeah, I don't know about the camera. I'd have to see one. I'd love to see it. Like in a car, though, it's to help you. You don't have to use the gadgets. I still think drivers should have a map in their truck. You just got killed by a beautiful Aston Martin on US 1 in Key Largo. Oh, Doug, I'll tell you, that would almost be worth it. I mean, great. They were at the Indianapolis Auto Show a couple of years ago when I went. Checked out the Aston Martin display. Love them, right? Beautiful cars. It'd be worth getting killed by that. Better than being killed by a Yugo. And that would make a great tombstone. Cut your speed down, increases mileage, and increases your profit and keeps your truck running. If you're running a business, yes. 65 on my truck, lifetime, has been 8.3 miles to the gallon. Okay, so how much more would you make going slower than that, versus how much money you make? Where do you become a safety hazard? Say you got the best at 50, okay, 58, right? I don't know about that. Are you getting the fuel mileage to make that worth it? Wayne like 75 and states with separate speed limits, agree. Should not be a separate speed limit. Everybody needs to run the same speed. You hear that, Indiana? If you notice, it's mostly younger drivers. It's for mega carriers. I don't know. There are a lot of older people getting into trucking. Some of them are older than me. But being in my extreme upper 30s, I'm not surprised about that. It's mostly older guys that are owner-operators. Yeah, because they're sick of, they've been at a few companies that have given them a lot of grief, and they're like, forget this. I'm going to go buy my own truck. 58 to 62. Ooh. I mean, that's really low. As I've said, right? We all know who that is. If you hear a driver talking, you slide out of the rim quality. So you got to decide, is it worth it, right? Is the 60 worth it? Do you make enough money to make a living that you want to make? If you like your dispatcher, you could go somewhere else and go faster, and the dispatcher's horrible. It makes your life ruination every day. So it depends. What are the benefits? Is it worth it to you? Is it worth it to you? These folks, a whole 20 minutes to load a trailer. Well, that's not bad. Wow. We all need to get on that program. Lots of newer drivers are called steering wheel holders because they're not professional. They're just not taught, right? Nobody starts out being a perfect driver, and nobody ends up being a perfect driver. So there you go. You bust a big ridge slide off and trying to go in the TA. What the heck? If he's getting any rollover minutes. Oh, wow. I wish I had a sound effect for that. Wow. That's really good. 60 perfect. Okay. So at 68, you're doing 8.2. Yeah, that's making money then. At 8.2, you can make money owning a truck. Oh, Doug, yikes. So it's 8.2 to 4 at 65. So I don't think going slower is any benefit because it takes you longer to get somewhere. I don't think it's going to get you 9 or 9.5. You were just in Indiana the other day. The roads are horrible. They're all fixed. They fixed them up. Last couple days, they've been fixed. They're all patched up. You're 62 and just got your Class A. Yeah, I've seen a lot of older people, not like you're like decrepit or whatever, but it's not just 21-year-olds. I mean, honestly, it's not mostly 21-year-olds. Anybody here that's on today that's in truck school, look around. What's the average age of the people in your class? Probably not 21. Probably not. Josh is the perfect company driver. Well, after all those years of driving, you can expect it. You mature fast and keep out of trouble. That's good. Some drivers have massive egos. That's everywhere you go. Go to Holland, have a training program. Yeah, these union carriers, which never used to do this, now I notice that they have training. Yellow, Holland, ABF. Some of these large union carriers, which pay well and pay for all your time, are doing training. And some of them advertise home every day. You would never have to be gone. So it just depends what you want and what you want to put up with. At a union company, it's probably seniority based. So you're not going to get the best route to start with. But if you stay in there, you got it made. Since my video, you're going to run your backyard. Yeah, so if they're close, and they're a pretty good place, right? They're paying for a lot of your time at Martin. Go check them out. Worth calling them. It's at least worth a call. That doesn't cost you anything but your time. See what they can offer you near your home. You drive 75-mile-an-hour Cascadia, nice. And you have a new dispatcher, a great dispatcher, at 58 cents, nice. $72,000, but you're 1099. Well, personally, I won't do the 1099. I think it's too much of a tax problem. No, because you can get 70 grand as a company driver. So they're 58 cents, but you'd have to buy all your insurance and stuff. See, if the companies don't want to give you the benefit, they're saving all this money, but paying you what a company driver would get anywhere. Look at Barna, 60 cents with full benefits. So it's not worth it to me to 1099. And when you do your taxes, you let me know how that goes, because I think that's a big problem. You need to pay, self-employment tax and all these other taxes that they didn't withhold. You pay your own Social Security. I'm not a fan. Are the Teamsters are your enemy? Maybe, not for me. So Michelle's 55-year-old and been driving for 8 months. Exactly. What was the age of the people if you went to truck school? What's the average age in your class? Not 21, I bet. Michael is decrepit. We get decrepit from sitting in the truck all the time. Kevin is in Europe. Nice. Thanks for coming in here on the America feed. The Voice of America. 56. Less fatigue. Meh. Better fuel mileage. Right. But here in America, we don't care. And the truck lasts longer. Again, don't care. That's the other thing of it. Company driver, I don't care about the fuel mileage necessarily. That the truck lasts longer. We don't keep them that long. But I agree. 56 here in America, though, would be intolerably slow and really a hazard. Out west here, we can run 75, 80 in some states illegally. So 56, I think, in America would be just intolerable. Intolerable. Now, let me ask you, Kevin, how many hours a week would you work, and what do you say you make? That's interesting if you want to tell us. Indiana called Angie's List to get the road fixed. Yeah, we looked on Home Advisor. You got your CDL at 50, exactly, and figured out you could drive or die or can't pass the physical. Drive till you die or can't pass. Yeah, you can do it. So, and what was the average age in your class if you went to class? Doesn't Bluebird use Per Diem? I don't know about that. Tricky, you have 3 kids, so the offset's what I owe. I'm not look, if that's a 1099, I'm not a fan of it. Every driver claims they make more than they make, and your truck is faster than it goes. Exactly. So we're going to go 80% of what everybody says. I don't know about that, though. It is, 70 grand. That's a regular pay in the industry now. You're wondering if they gave a crap about the next thing you know, they gave you a new Freightliner. But it's so slow, I usually pull out the shoulder. It's not 2 lanes. That's really annoying. Make more, maybe somewhere else. Maybe somebody would offer you a dedicated run that gets you home. It's worth calling around. It doesn't take anything but your time. You're just out there anyway. Hey, what's going on? They tune the trucks for fuel mileage. Yeah, each company has them set up for themselves. Oh, Ivone asked an interesting question that I never get. Where do I work? Right, I never tell people where I work because I want to keep them out of my videos. So, and I don't recruit for them either, like so many people on YouTube do. It seems like I don't do any recruiting for my company. I leave them out, although now that the year changed, we're closing in on 17 years at the same place. That's really something. I'm sure they can't wait for me to leave, honestly. So I keep them out. Thanks for asking me that question that I never get, though. You want a mechanical truck? Yikes. Kind of old, right? Martin qualifies with their sliding pay scale. I don't know about that. And you have Martin with the IN, and we're talking Martin with the EN, the mostly refrigerated company. So there's 2 Martins. Keep that in mind. No, there's a number of them. We're talking about the large refrigerated blue carrier, right? Martin. And, you can get in the 60s there. Automatic detention. You get paid if they do a service on the reefer there. So we're impressed. Most of your class were retired military, 45, 50. That's what I'm saying. So that's perfect. It's not like these classes are filled with 21-year-olds. It's people that are older, changing careers, or realizing that their job in a cubicle or at a warehouse is not going to go anywhere. It just isn't. Can a person with knee replacement still drive? Yeah, I don't see why not. If you can pass the physical, I don't even know if you have to tell them you have knee replacements. And what do you have to do? Just try to touch your toes. That's all they tell me. Try to touch your toes. I'm like, what do you think? I can't touch my toes? I can touch my toes. So, but I don't see why not. But I'm not a doctor, right? But I don't see why you couldn't pass the physical. It isn't complicated physical. If we did more mentoring to new drivers, we could fix a lot of driver image problems. which should open the door. Yeah, companies aren't interested in doing it. They're just interested in making money for themselves. You're a prime driver. Nice. Just finished your second year as a company driver. Wow. And you're governed at 62, and you cleared 60 grand. That's $1,200 a week. Are you on a dedicated account there? That's always interesting. Or are you on their lightweight, refrigerated with that smaller sleeper? Got 12 people in class, half are 40 to 50, and everybody else is younger. So the average age is not 21. Absolutely not. All the container drivers must be from England here then. Maybe. They do run a lot of that stuff. Yes. iPhone. You asked it, right? We got to go with it. Most people were in your 30s. Exactly. That's what I think. There's not 21-year-olds saying, man, if only I could get into trucking after I'm done playing Fortnite. Oh, thanks, Keto. I appreciate that very much. You'd rather be back in Iraq than sit for free. You don't have to sit for free, right? We sit for free because we want to. When I see a place like Martin, which is doing automatic detention pay, okay, and then I see people that work at a company that says you wait 4 hours for detention and then you get $10 an hour, I always wonder about that. What keeps somebody at a place where they have all these hours that they sit for no pay? What keeps you there? Maybe there's something that does keep you there. But if there's hours and hours every week that you sit, you're kind of volunteering for it after you do it more than a few times, because there's so many places that don't make you sit for all those hours. And this is not the only place, Martin, that is doing this. There are a lot of places that are paying people for most of their time. Yeah, 60 is not bad. It's better than what most people make. Yeah, that's pretty good. So, is that a just general freight, which I think is probably the hardest way to make money, or is that on a regular account? Or what is that exactly? Yeah, it just contracts, Michael. We just contracted in there, right? But hard to believe. I can touch my toes, though, really. No, Keto, I appreciate that. That's really good. Ivona, you can make more, yes, but people stay for different reasons. You may stay for less. It depends. Okay, Death Proof, you did mean Martin. Look, the sliding scale, right, is still good. And starting in the 50 range and going up, I thought was still pretty good. And with all these other pays, that's the thing. We can't only look at mileage and say, okay, it's 50 cents a mile. But here we get automatic detention. They get breakdown. You get paid, depending, it's the total pay. That's how it works, I have not looked into Navajo Digby. That's interesting. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, YouTube, please. 2 thumbs down. Well, I'll have to try to live with that. My wife brought up the color of the trucks, and I told her I don't care what color the truck is. Some people do seem to care. They do. How much money I can make it. Shut up talking about. There are trucking companies that advertise, come here and pick your color. So it must matter to some people. Kind of like Martin showed with the grill guards. They made a big deal about having grill guards in the truck. So it must matter to people that they have them, or they wouldn't put that out there. So if color matters, find a place that'll let you choose the color of your truck. I've seen it come and go in the industry where for a while the people will advertise it and then it's gone, and now it seems to be back. Maybe that's a thing now. It doesn't help you make any more money. They don't load all the blue trucks first, please. That I've never heard that at a shipper. So, Buck, exactly. Buck has the comment of the day. I'm a driver for over 30 years, but I don't look a day over 35. It's amazing. Trucking keeps you young. It lets you look young and feel young. That's how trucking does for you. Every day you get younger and younger. That was dedicated for the first 4 months, then went to Central only driving. Central U.S. You drive a full size. Oh, because you're missing out on the bonus. Because I know they have a bonus at Prime for what they call a lightweight truck, which is a smaller cab truck. You can put more weight into it. If you're driving the featherweight, as they call it, right? Featherweight, exactly. All right, well, that's pretty good. I will give you that's good. Some people care more about looks than making more money. You want your truck to look good. If you're willing to give up money just to have a truck look a certain way, then, that's certainly your choice in the industry. If that's what you want to do, I never really recommend that. I think you should have a nice truck. on the road. It should be fully featured, right? And, it should be good, not some 2002 truck or whatever. But other than that, no. But if that's your choice, you're like, I'm willing to give up $10,000 to have this certain truck. Hey, more power to you. Your stress level was lower when you had your own truck. It would seem like it would be higher to me because I'd always be worried about it breaking down or something. My stress level is low being a company driver because I don't have all those worries. Your company starts at 43, which isn't great. It's not the greatest. But they offer something that is scarce, and that's respect. Oh, that was good, right? So 43 starting, hopefully there's some raises in there. I think 40 is really a cutoff where I'd tell people just forget it really because you can get 40. But look, if you're getting respect there, and see, that's worth something. You want to go, maybe you can get 50 somewhere and they could care less about you. That isn't worth it. Because that's your home, how much your life is dealing with the people at work. Okay, all the 3 thumbs down for you. All right, I'll try to live with myself. You hit a wild boar. You wish you had a grill guard. That thing was solid. Okay, well, I mean, Charles King, would that get you to switch companies? That's the thing. They run it in their ads. They're in these little truck magazines that they have these grill guards. So would that be worth it? Would that be worth it to you? Not for me, but maybe for people it is. You're on your way home, so you can get your hazmat endorsement added. Oh, good. I'll be looking to go down to Texas and New Mexico for the oil field to get that under your belt. All right. I agree. Everybody that can get it should get it. Hey, Blue Lion, welcome back. Thanks for coming in today. Is a ton 10,000 pounds? No, a ton is 2,000 pounds. You want to make money and look good. Hey, I think that the man makes the truck. How about that? When you walk out of it and the whole parking lot stops and looks at you and you just do the double guns at them, what's up? That's looking good right there. You drove for Prime, it's a scam. You don't make that 1,200. Yeah, Michael, you can't. Look, I don't like the place. I don't like their training program, but you can make money there. Depending what you do, we got to be honest here. You can make money there. It depends on what you do. It depends on your dispatch. It depends, every company, it depends on a lot of different factors. The pay goes up there and it's possible. I think it's possible. Money looks good, man. The money you can get out waving money around too. That helps. Have you ever had a bad experience with a gate guard? Like that video, I've really never had too much problem with gate guards. Some of them are having a bad attitude or whatever that day. So you just got to deal with them. Same with the people at the window. I'm sure everybody's had that. So you just got to be like, okay, whatever, Part of it is how you react to things, and part of them are just jerks, I'm sure. Can I explain the weight limits on signs? Yeah, whatever the sign says is the weight limit. So like I think somebody put up here 35, maybe you 35T, that's 70,000 pounds. So if you're over that on your truck, no going down that road. The double guns amigo, that's right, man. That makes you look good. Let's see. YouTube, yeah, YouTube is fun, can be fun and good or bad, right? So the double guns, you can't just use them, by the way. Be careful where you use them. You got to be careful where you're using them. But Josh, look, if you're over 70, you can't do it, right? On 35, 20T, 40,000. Take the number on there times 2,000 in America here. And so that's it. If you're in another country, you'll have to figure out your tonnage, TONNE, right? But seriously, though, it's 2,000 pounds a ton in the United States. And don't trust your GPS on this. If you have these trucking GPSs, I always say this, we have a Garmin built in to the trucks with truck weight limits. It's horrible. At least the Garmin one. I haven't run these other ones. It has no idea where I fuel the truck some days. It tells me I'm not allowed to go down the road. It's a fuel stop for trucks. Okay, so it just depends. But do not trust it 100%, no matter what it says. Get all the information first. I don't trust it. And Garmin can write to me and send me one that does work, because the one that we have that's built in is not correct. Not at all correct. You probably never go to Western, but a trucker said it was a good company. Look, they may love you there. They may be a great place to work, They may treat drivers well, but the pay is so low. 3 years experience at 36 cents is just ridiculously low. I don't think it's worth it even to have the nice truck. You're giving up so much money. At 3 years, you can be 60 plus cents somewhere else. You could be giving up 14 cents a mile, 20 cents a mile, 25 cents a mile. Over a year, that's 20 grand or more. It's not worth it. Just not worth it to have a truck with extra gauges in it, I don't think. And they'll put in lights that you put in that you give them yourself that you have to pay for. Getting loaded tandems all the way back on your way to Houston. I guess depending what state you're in, we can do it. We can do that. Most companies don't give you automatic detention. They give you an automatic truck. Exactly, Buck. So I thought it was good. And at Martin, you get an automatic truck also. And automatic detention, which pays regardless of whether they get paid, is good in the industry. And that you don't have to wait 5 hours to get it. I thought that was really good. What's the average age for truckers? Didn't they say it's like closing in on 50 or maybe more than 50 years old? Something like that. It's high. It's really high. Because they're all like, oh, they're all going to die soon or whatever. Like we're all dying soon. All you older people, older than me. A long ton is more than 2,000. Yes. It was fun last snowstorm to watch FedEx and 3 different trucks stuck because they're pulling 53s with a single. Most people don't know how to chain though. So no matter what state they may have a chain and don't know how to use it. The strike, Sandra, the strike. So there's coming up, and there's an article in the description, a link to the trucker, which has an article about it. If you want to read it, it's not that long of an article. So in April, we're all supposed to take a day off, strike, which means go see your representative, stay at home, do something, park legally. That's what it said. And that's going to show the industry that we mean business. So, and one of the things we want to be able to split our sleeper, which you can already do. Another thing, we don't want to stay in the sleeper for 10 hours. You don't have to stay in the sleeper for 10 hours. You can be wherever you want, just off duty for 10 hours. So some of the things that people want is a problem, like detention. We want to get paid detention. Well, that's not up to the government to pay detention. It's up to the people to pay detention. So if you work somewhere that doesn't pay detention, you have to move on to a place that pays detention, really. Some people don't get paid any detention and then they want to strike. Go somewhere that pays it. Besides which, the strike is not going to work. It just isn't going to work. You're going to get 50 people doing it. Your first year, Mark is in his high 30s. That's correct. My first year I cleared 43,000, but second year 60. Yes. So you're doing much better. Look at it, you got a pay raise already. If people will just go somewhere, even no matter where it is, even whether I like it or it's generally like stay there. Just go find a place you can work in and stay there. And that's how you're going to make money in this industry or any industry. Beast is 21. Well, welcome. Nice to see someone young in here. Are you going to drive or are you a driver now? Ricky, I'm out there to look pretty or make money. Exactly. There's no reason you can't do both, though, right? That's what I'm saying. Okay. So for everybody did a 34 on a predetermined date, it would be better than a strike. Oh, you get your hours, right? You'd benefit yourself and you'd be legal during your protest. Yes. But it still wouldn't do any good. How about if everybody just ran legal all the time, every day, from now until the end of this year? That would be impressive. Let freight sit 6 miles away from where it belongs because you're out of hours. Ricky wants to drive after 8 hours. You want the old rules back, the 8 hours. And maybe that is what they're talking about, is they don't want to have to sit 10 hours rather than the way they put it is they don't want to have to spend 10 hours in the sleeper, which you already don't have to do. So you can have any combination of off-duty and sleeper time. You can do 30 minutes in each one, back and forth on your log if you want, as long as they're combined together. So, and 10 hours is a long time. We all know they're trying to make a 24-hour day, 14 and 10. It never works out because you don't always work the whole 14 hours. So it's a problem. It's a real problem. What is the solution, though? If you want 8 hours, then I want to get paid for that other 2 hours. I want to get paid for it. Oh, thanks, Beast. I appreciate it. Starting out good. Hope you get a good place somewhere near your house and stay there. Stay there. You just had your 28th birthday. Oh, wow. Congratulations. That was not that long ago for me. Maybe the true fight is to have the government mandate the shippers and receivers hire their own loading and unloading crew. But they wouldn't be able to. They wouldn't be able to mandate that, right? The government can't mandate that kind of thing. They can't say you must hire your own people. That's not going to work. Not in America. There's too many restrictions on what the government can do here. People always tell me, well, look what they did in France. France and here is two different things. Roads were horrible in Ohio 2 days ago, and truckers were flying by everyone else who was crawling. You don't feel them bad when you see them in the ditch. Everybody runs their own speed, right? I use the Christmas movie idea that the warm tires stick to the road better, which is a fact, the same way your tongue sticks to a cold pole, okay? So you want to keep your tires warmer, you get a little bit better traction on the roads. You want drivers to stop driving one foot on the dashboard or one out the window. Please stay off the phone with both feet on the floor, yes. Now, if you're in a Peterbilt, you can stick your foot out either window because they're so close together. But yeah, look, put your feet on the floor, people. I've seen that too. That's somewhat impressive depending where their foot is, but that's a little dangerous. I don't even think it's allowed, or if it is, it shouldn't be. What day is the protest? Yeah, somebody said it was a Friday. I should have looked that up. I never even thought about it. So that'll give everybody a long weekend, which is really nice. Can you get good fuel mileage in a long-nosed truck? Yes. You can't. He drives a W900 and gets 6.8. I don't consider that good anymore. But that's probably good for that truck. If you want to make money, though, get 8 miles to the gallon in your truck, in a truck that you own. First year Swift dedicated on target, 68. Second year, 76 in New York. Try to do the city. It's a nightmare, but it's money. Yes. If you're willing to, that's the other thing. If you're willing to do things other people are unwilling to do, you'll make more money because people won't do it. That happened to me a couple of years ago. I came in on Christmas and worked. It paid me very well, over $50 an hour I got for that day. It was just a 6-hour run, and it paid over $300 because nobody would do it. And so I'm like, I'll do it for like $330. And they're like, well, no way. I said, well, good luck getting somebody to come in because I'm right down the street, and they paid it. Do things other people won't do, and you'll get paid better for it. We need to go back to how trucking used to be, but with current trucks, maybe. Modern trucks, because I still want air conditioning. Ricky, a 28. Yes, exactly. 28 is closer to me. Truckers show their age differently. That's true. I saw a guy the other day. I thought he was 90 years old. He's like 34. Can anyone answer why the transportation company is responsible for lumped fees? Because they do it. And I agree with you. It's crazy. I never understood it either. Why are we paying that? And even the company, why is my company paying it? Because they'll do it. Companies ought to say, no, we're not paying it. It's your freight, you take it off the truck. I don't know why companies pay it. It's hundreds of dollars. Oh, that'll be $382. I'm like, you took 3 pallets off or whatever. But I agree. It's the craziest setup that the company pays to get the stuff unloaded that belongs to the place. It's ridiculous. It's like I would get something delivered and then I also pay them. Oh, here's $40 also. Give me my stuff. No, that's the stupidest thing. And it's gone on because companies pay it. That they should stop paying. Say no. And that would only take 1 day for that to happen. They go, I'm not paying it. And then what? The end of that day, Walmart says, forget it. And they make you leave. And so what are they going to make all the trucks leave? They don't get any freight. And that would end immediately. It's just been a crazy thing in the industry. If you're having your great tires, hop in the snow, pack left lane, and you can move at a reasonable pace. Or always look like you're speeding. Yeah, because of the blizzard behind you. Yes. Or I'll roll the rumble strips down the right side as well. And you should always have great tires, naturally, right? April 12th is a shutdown. It's just a handful of hillbillies. Yeah, but that's going to be like a couple of handfuls by then. They're going to get together. I think somebody said it was a Friday. I didn't look it up. Brokers reimburse lumper fees. So somebody's still paying this. This is coming out of somebody. They should unload their own freight. I just don't get it. It's your stuff. You get it off the truck. But companies pay it, and so then brokers pay it. Somebody's paying it. All the U.S. city slickers will be rolling. I'm out rolling that day. That day I'll make sure to be driving. There's nothing redneck or a hillbilly. You'd be a redneck than a city slicker. I live in town, but you can be a hillbilly if you want to. You just haven't. Maybe you haven't seen a picture of these guys. Hello, Rita. What's going on, Clarksville Trucking? It's good to see you in here today. And for people, I'll announce this again, right? Only on the live feed. This is going to be given away next week. The C400 XT, brand new, because Blue Parrot, friend of the channel. So I'll be sure to be on here next week and get your headset. No purchase necessary, of course. And I have another one as well for February. Be giving that away in February as well. The next one I'll be using to do a video about it. So I'm going to try it out. And so then the second one will be open. It'll be an open box, but it's still free to you. So I'll be sure to be in here next week for that. That should be a lot of fun. Owner-operators like blue-collar workers of the industry. Owner-operators are like the entrepreneurs of the industry, right? They go out, start their own business, put all them $100,000 into the truck, whatever like that, and try to make a go of it. But I think it's super high stress, right? We talked about that it's low stress. I can't imagine it's low stress. It would seem like low stress is company driver. JAT Logistics. If that's the JAT, Josh, out of Fort Wayne, I posted those on my Facebook page last week, right about a little over a week ago. They were paying over-the-road drivers on the clock, hourly plus overtime. And so I was super happy about that, to see that. And I've seen a couple other places doing that. Not many yet, but some. You get caught in the Ohio storm and admit you're going 35 to 45, doing my best trying to pass any trucker going 25. That's the thing. Once you get into the snow, people are all going their own speed, and that's how it gets a mess. And 65 here closed yesterday for probably 6 hours due to a huge wreck. Just a few miles north of me here in Lafayette. It closed just north of Lafayette for hour after hour, a huge wreck. And it was a bunch of trucks involved in it. Everybody's following too close, too. Let's be honest about that. Back it off a little bit, right? Back it off a lot bit. The problem is the ATA and politicians want owner-ops out of the business. Yeah, that probably won't happen for a while. They would like to push you out, but then some of these ATA companies use owner-operators as well to shuttle some of their freight around. Hey, what's going on, Martin? Headed home from Phoenix. Wow. So are you off for the week? Did you get some off time? Pure flatbedder, it's low stress. I'll take your word, you guys' word for it. It just seems to me that it would be high stress. I'd always be worried about stuff, but maybe, it's not as stressful as I think it is. You're not going to be in the strike, Mad Maldy. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be that many people out there in the strike. Josh is out of Jefferson City, Missouri. I wonder if it's the same JAT that does logistics, so that'd be interesting to find out. But the one in Fort Wayne was paying hourly, which was pretty good. It's too bad they have the same name. Used in the Ohio storm Friday and Saturday. A plow fell right off of the truck. Wow. Oh, that would have been great capture on something. Crypto futures. What trucker strike? In April, there's going to be a trucker strike. So you can, April 12th, we're supposed to shut down for the day legally, park legally. That's what they said. Take the day off at home or go see your representative and tell them what you think, because we want detention paid, raise, split sleeper, stuff like that. And a lot of the stuff the government has no control over, you have control over those things. So the guys that are on strike could do this themselves by simply changing what they're doing. But a lot of the things that happen to us, we have control over those things. When I see a company that doesn't pay anything for hours and hours, I don't want to work there necessarily. So I don't just stay there and ask the government to make them pay me. I would just leave. Let's see. The truckers, yeah. Okay, thanks, Peterbilt 379. Yeah, come on in anytime. Thanks for stopping by. Send me that picture if you've got it. I'd love to see it. The least favorite state. Well, the least favorite state, and probably anywhere on the East Coast. So I'll say Massachusetts. And then Jersey. For those stupid turns. Okay, why do I have to turn right to turn left? What the heck? Get yourself together over there. No, Ricky, yeah, partly right. Thank you. Nice show. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm always humbled that anybody comes in. So believe me, I appreciate everybody being here. You started in Plano, Illinois at 2 a.m. You got home to Mattoon at 9 on a 200-mile run. Took all night and morning, ran the rumble strip, and there was no road to see. Yeah, you were in it because it was in Illinois first. I got home Saturday morning about 2:15 a.m. in Indiana. It hadn't started snowing here. It was snowing in Terre Haute, but I got out of it. And so you were in it longer. That rumble strip is a lifesaver when you can't see anything. Flatbedding makes no sense. More work for the same money? Depends. Flatbedding keeps you in shape. Maybe it pays more. And it's a mental challenge. I always liked it. I did flatbeds, right? My first road company was flatbed. And I liked it. I think it's a good mental challenge. It was fun, Mad Maldy. It's a little fun. Ricky says they're shutting down I-95 in Carolina. When are they doing that? Yeah. Strike California. That would be interesting to strike a single state too, but what are we trying to get out of them? Raising, say, California here. Do we want them to raise the speed limit? That would be nice. And that would be a good way to do it. No freight comes in, but company drivers wouldn't do it probably. And that would be harder to get them to do, I think. If they all said we're not going to go to California, they'd just fire you or whatever, because it's just a certain sector of a company. And what about the people that live there? They have to go there. So I don't think that works. C. Hill, thanks for coming in. Oh, and it's only 45 in Georgia. Well, it's only 17 here last time I looked on the thing. So you're still doing better than me. Thanks for showing up today. Josh, right, that is the problem. It's cold in Kansas City at Dawn Food. Sorry, you're late. Jeff F. Wow, that's 3 demerits at this point in time. And I hope you don't have to stay at a food place. That doesn't sound great to sit at a food place. Buck Owens was from Bakerfield. Yeah, how would Buck Owens get home? A certain state, I don't know how that would work. Because companies have terminals there. Drivers are from there. So how would they go home? I'm not sure if that would work out well on one certain state. What do you want? You always need a spokesman. If there's going to be a strike, you need a spokesman. You have to say, talk to this person, because they can't go interview every single driver that is stopped. You need a spokesman. Is it this guy from Black Smoke Matters? Maybe he's the spokesman. Whoever it is, there needs to be a point person to say, okay, everybody goes back, like the Jimmy Hoffa of whatever this strike going on is. So who is it going to be? They have to pick somebody. And it has to be somebody that can speak on the news, speak to politicians. It can't be somebody that just crawled out from Iraq last week. Your father trucked in the 80s till the mid-90s. He recommends you put a piece of cardboard in the grill of the truck during cold weather. My thoughts, no. I don't do it. Not anymore. And I agree. When I started driving, right, and back in the dinosaurs, like a GMC Astro, you had to grill it. You had to block the grill, and these old Macs, you wouldn't get any heat out of them. You don't need to do it anymore. This Cascadia that I have, even below zero last winter, no problems. You get plenty of heat out of them now. And even the owner's manual, if you get a truck with an owner's manual, read through it. It says, do not block the grill. If you have to block the grill, take it to the shop and get it serviced. It should have heat no matter how cold it is. I still see them on trucks. They're not necessary anymore. If you're not getting heat, get the truck fixed. It can ruin the airflow to the turbo and all. They've got all that figured out. The engineers figure all that out. So no. 3 days off for 20th anniversary, going to Thackerville, Oklahoma for the Cabin of Love. Oh, well, that's interesting, whatever that might be. Where's Rubber Duck when you need him? Exactly. That's who we need right now. Oh, yeah, too bad Rodney couldn't come, Super Trucker. Yep, too bad. How old am I to be with the dinosaurs? I'm extreme upper 30s. Hey, Josh, you could ask him. He's busy being other spokesman for other stuff. Don't forget to get your tickets for the Mid-America Truck Show as well. So I should mention that every week. The Mid-America Truck Show is coming up at the end of March. Tickets are available. Go check them out. There's a links page on the website at truckinganswersnation.com, and there's a link there to get your tickets. They're free. They don't cost anything. I don't look old enough to be back in the dinosaurs. Yeah, I say that, you know. Trucking does you wonders, really. Right? So don't forget tomorrow, as I look at my notes here, tune into Auto Transport Intel, of course. He's live at 8 p.m. talking about cars and car haulers for anybody that would want to get into that. It's a fascinating show. And Friday, I'll be live at Trucking Business Freedom on Auto Transport Intel's at 1 p.m. Friday, live. So here on YouTube, check that out. So it's our monthly show. That's a 1-hour show on Friday. People can come over there. We're going to talk about trucking. So that's what I say about that. 26 in Clifton, Illinois. That's better than you're doing here. I'm hoping for the sun to melt the car before I have to go out there. In Europe, you get 10 to 12 pounds sterling per hour. That's low, okay? Even just thinking of the translation, I don't think that's great, right? So 60 hours, that's $800 US, $900. That's not great. I caught that snowstorm from Ohio through Illinois up into Michigan. So you were in the whole thing, right? You basically drove all day Saturday. Should I ask your accountant for anything special? My first year company driver has already have my W-2. Wow. That's really good. They blasted them out to you. No, I don't think so. You make sure that the guy knows about trucking. But really, if you're a company driver and you didn't get per diem, you don't get to take it anymore. Hopefully they'll be able to do it properly. So I always think you should get somebody that's more with trucking, but and I don't know if a company driver even needs an accountant because you're not really going to have any deductions. But I don't think so. Get them in there. Last I heard, the government wasn't going to give refunds, though. They were considering not giving out the refunds because they're closed. So you may not get that for a while if you are waiting for any kind of refund. But as a company driver, I don't think there's anything more to worry about for it because there's not as many things. Al, you made it. Yes, thank you for coming in. Wow. You got your W-2 last week. What do they just print them out on the first of the year? That's crazy. You can't believe CRST is not going to be there. Believe it. There's not in the recruiting section there are not many companies listed this year. I'm really surprised considering, and we're talking about Mid-America Truck Show. I'm considering how many companies cry about getting drivers. There's not going to be that many in the recruiting section of the Mid-America Truck Show. So very surprising. It was surprised to me how few places are there. I've seen it with hundreds of places listed. So considering that they would need all these drivers, they aren't coming there, right? I scared them. Yeah. I don't know how scared they are, but that's good though. That is really good. So maybe they think, well, I better not go there, right? Mark is going to be there. I doubt. I don't think they care that much about me, certainly. Just me, little old me over here. So I'm going to be doing a new thing too, where let's see, I wrote this down right too, about what to ask. So what should a new driver ask a company? So I'm going to have videos about each company and the specific things that a driver should ask them. And I think that's going to be interesting. Each company seems to have their own problem, and a driver looking into that company should ask them different things. So I plan to get some of those out as well. So I should get those coming out here this week. They'll probably be on the laptop cam too until I can figure out why this isn't working. I may have to end up getting a new phone. So that it might work that way. You're a new driver. You heard about fly-by-night Chicago companies. Yeah, married trucker guy. There are a lot of companies in Chicago that 1099 you. So as you look around the Chicago area, many places offer 1099. And that isn't any good. Do not accept being a 1099 if you're driving someone else's truck. It's just an IRS nightmare. And that's not a problem you want. They have more power than anybody because you can't bankrupt them and they can just take your money. So don't get in any trouble with them and don't accept 1099. That seems to be a problem in Chicago. Not of all companies, certainly. Okay, not every company, but it seems to be located in the area. Your fleet manager is tired of hearing you say you're a licensed professional. Well, then he should treat you like a licensed professional. How about that? Then you wouldn't have to tell him all the time. You're trying to hustle a deal with your company to take a truck down there. Oh, and your crew walk around. Oh, all right. Good time with the wife and daughter and get paid. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. See if they'll let you bring a truck down there. Tell them you want it washed and everything. But the time has passed. I guess you'd have to recruit in the parking area now. because the time is basically passed. Although a lot of drivers do walk around here handing out cards to their company so that they try to do like a little recruiting thing when they're walking around, which is pretty interesting. Oh, call my company. This is a great company, because they get a recruiting bonus. Some places pay $500 as soon as the driver goes through orientation. So you'll see a lot of drivers recruiting that way. You have to be very careful of that. Start saying you want to be paid for everything you do. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, tell them, all right, you're going to hear this now. Very good. Get paid for all of your time. Maybe you're getting paid for all of your time. You work for JB Hunt and they're fair, but you hate it. You can move around, even though they're fair. Why do you hate it? And that is interesting. So they're fair, but you hate it. What is it that makes you hate the place? Which that answer can help other people. Maybe it's where you work. It's just not as well. We'll see what you say about it though. Because I've heard from other people that the pay there is okay and it's not a bad place to work. So people that write in or whatever, because I answer every email, as I always say, within a couple of days, right? Mark at truckinganswersnation.com. I'll answer everybody's email. No problem. I'll answer you. I'll get back to you within a couple of days. JB Hunt has a lot of stuff around the country. They do a lot of containers. They do a lot of loads. They do final mile and straight trucks now. You can be a straight truck driver for JB Hunt if you have a Class B license. You believe your company, so you'll recruit on the fly. Believe in them. Yeah. So you could do that. I don't think you can bring the truck in the thing now, though. I think the time is up to sign up for that. But you can walk around and recruit people. Last year, there were 72,000 drivers that showed up at the Mid-America Truck Show. And I hope to see all of you there at the end of March. If you're looking for a room, too, I was just looking at this last week, and I have my room reserved. You better get your room. Their places are filling up fast. So get your room reserved down there now if you need a motel room. What about signing a no-compete? I'm not a fan of a no-compete. I'm not a lawyer, but they've been shown around the country to not be enforceable. You can look up the laws on that where people have challenged them, but still they make you sign it, and it kind of makes you feel like you have to stay there. So I'm just not a fan of them. Really, I'm just not a fan of them. Companies shouldn't need one to make you stay there. I see why they do it. Chipotle got in a big lawsuit about it. They made their burrito artists, or whatever they're called, maestros, sign a non-compete so they couldn't work at other fast food, and that got tossed. And they had to redo everything. So I don't like them. I just don't like it. Speaking of that, Viria, as she called it, right? The president of Viria wrote to me and wanted to talk to me. So we got together. I talked to her on the phone for like 20 minutes. And she explained how the whole company works. And she's going to get a new video for it, because I don't think the last video accurately represents what the company is all about. So the non-compete reminds me, because they use a non-compete there, which we talked about, and we said we'll agree to disagree. But she didn't have to take her time to call me. So they're going to get a new video about that place, and it's going to be a change from the way it was. So the old one is not up anymore. And I just don't think that the way that it was portrayed is accurate. She sent me a lot of information about the place that isn't shown to people that start there. I don't know why they do it that way. She said, we don't show this to everybody because apparently companies call each other and they don't want the information to get out to other companies. She goes, but here's the way it really works here. And so there you go. So I thought that was really nice of her to call me. Much respect to them. And they're going to get a new video. So look for that soon. And so they're going to go on a different list, believe me, after seeing the whole deal and talking to her. And getting it all in writing, that they sent me all the stuff, to me to see. You drive junk, use slow PeopleNet. I've heard a lot of bad things. I've never used PeopleNet. You never thought you'd say it, but you missed the road. You only been home a month. Being home pretty nice, so it just depends. If you don't have anybody at home, though, I guess no, but it's just a personal choice, right? I guess it shows there's no shortage since there's no show. Yeah, exactly, Yvonne. If they're not coming to recruit, they must not have any shortage. Which one is it? Real men go on strike. Those who don't are not. Man, that's nice. You did 14 months. You have a concrete plant. 14-month strike, I doubt you'd ever come out ahead of that. I mean, how much would the raise have to be if you took over a year off? But this strike, for what we're talking about here, is 1 day. It's not going to do anything. How do I log? Running out of hours because snowstorm caused the road to close. You could use you could drive 2 extra hours, right? So we could use the adverse conditions exception, which would allow you to drive 13 hours out of 14 hours. It is possible to use an emergency declaration exception, which I should do a video about, where theoretically you could drive and say, because of this, I was stuck and it's an emergency, I have to drive to somewhere safe. You can't park on the road, but you wouldn't be able to continue the run other than the closest place, something like that. But an adverse conditions exception would give you a couple of extra hours. I have a video about it, 395.1, which you can check out there. I'll pay your bills, right? Exactly. Everybody pays your bills and you can strike all you want, K. Wayne. Exactly. What about 1099 and the owner of the truck lets you claim the fuel for your write-off? No, you didn't pay it and it's not your truck. You didn't bring the equipment. On the IRS site, right, you can go and put in there, am I an independent contractor? And they have a checklist of like 20 questions to ask about your situation. And it's not just for truckers. This is for anybody. Are you independent? And so ask yourself these questions. And one of them is, do you provide the equipment? Okay, so did you provide the equipment? No, they provide the equipment. Do you dispatch yourself? Do you decide your schedule? I think is how it's worded on there. No, they dispatch you. Can you suffer a loss? That's probably the biggest one. Can you suffer a loss? If you're driving someone else's truck, and a loss is not a zero check. A loss is at the end of the week, you owe money still. Like a lease operator might be if they didn't work and still had a truck payment. They're at least an independent contractor in that sense that they provide the truck by paying it. They can suffer a loss. If the boss or owner provides the truck, you can't suffer a loss. You could get a zero check, but you aren't suffering a loss. So basically, just because you can write the fuel off, probably illegally if you didn't pay for it, you're still not independent under the eyes of the IRS. Look, people say, well, I file this way and nothing ever happens. That might be. If you get caught, say 4 years from now, they audit you and then they go, oh, all these last 4 years? No. You were a company driver. So all those write-offs, you don't get those anymore. And all the taxes you weren't withheld, you have to pay. You have a huge problem. Maybe you owe them $10,000, $20,000. Now what? Don't try to scam them on it. Don't. Believe me. It isn't worth it. And you're not getting any benefits. You're not getting the insurance. You're not getting, workman's comp. You're not getting any of the benefits that a company driver gets. It isn't worth it. It just isn't. There's too many good company jobs. Somebody wrote in last week for Bar None. They made $90,000. Okay, at Bar None as a company driver with full benefits. So you don't need to 1099 yourself like that. It's not worth it on the IRS. They can go back and ruin your life. That's just not worth it to me. You're not missing any days of work. What would they think, Al, if you said, I'm going on strike today? They probably wouldn't like it, especially 1 day. They're going to be like, no. John works for Kennesaw and haven't thought about going on strike. Great company. It can be. Good equipment. If you're not happy, you can find something else. Yes. And I did a video about Kennesaw, and I thought that for teams, it might be pretty good because of the long runs that they had. If you're really underpaid in the industry, you're getting in the 30s maybe, and you have experience, you can easily transition to another company and get a 20-cent raise for yourself without going on strike. You can just look around. You really can. You can solve a lot of the problems that the strike wants the government to solve yourself. Don't block the grill. Yes, Michael. Do not block the grill on a new truck. These engineers have figured out the exact way air is supposed to go through the grill to cool the intercooler and the turbo and everything. I would not block the grill. Nobody does it on their car. Okay, so it's the same thing. Years ago, I agree. We used to cover the grill. I would get the cardboard out and we'd bungee it on there. You don't have to do it anymore. The truck should give you heat no matter how cold out it is. And I would say if you ask most people, they're getting heat even in the dead of winter. The truck is warm, nice and warm inside. You think you found a local job in the same company, so don't owe them for your classes. Oh, that's even better. If you're at a large place, that's the benefit of a large place that I always talk about. You can go do something else and not quit. It's like you're doing a whole nother job, but you haven't had to quit your job. And that is great. And so now you won't owe for the classes either. You go on strike for 34 hours every week. Oh, you should write that guy, because their link is in the trucker article that I have in the description, and say, look, you're striking every week. Tell him maybe he should go on strike every week. That's pretty good. You need to get rid of the mandatory electronic log. Yeah, people say that, but I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't see it happening. Too many people were cheating the paper log, admit it. This is much harder to cheat, and it's working out better for the industry. We don't want to work any more hours because, this holds your company to those hours too. It holds your company to the same hours, which they didn't used to do. If you're headed to the house and your trip is going to take you, say, 18 hours, can you drive off duty 2 hours over your 14? No, you cannot. If you're logging it driving, then it's driving. If you're logging it personal conveyance, then it's the whole trip's personal conveyance. You can't have it both ways. You can't split it up and say I'm going to continue driving because it's personal conveyance. Can't do it. Got to be one or the other. You go on strike every Saturday and Sunday. That's the only days you're going to strike. What about an ice storm to prevent ice buildup? I still don't do it. Because if you cover it, you still got to open it up. So you should stop and pound it out, which I actually did a video about it, which you may have seen. Pound that ice off of that grill. And they should really heat the grill, honestly, because you need the airflow. As soon as you see the temperature going up in an ice storm or snow, because the snow was really wet. I was running through it near Evansville. It was a super heavy wet snow, and it was packing the headlights because they're LED. And it was also packing the grill. And so I got out there at Terre Haute and thought, man, truck's hot. I can't see anything. So got out there and cleaned out the grill so we could get some airflow again. Felipe likes New York. Yeah, you must be crazy. Al, I like e-logs. I agree. I totally agree. I've been a fan of them. Rain-X or wax. It hasn't helped the lights. It's still sticky. Out there allowing livestock haulers to continue cheating. I guess you could say it that way. They're not required to have an ELD or B haulers, as we found out on here. Do not have to have one for the foreseeable future. So they'll be able to cheat. True. You live in Dallas, Fort Worth, Troy, nice. Company work local days, be home at night and off weekends and make at least $1,100. You should be able to find that. I find it around the country. I haven't looked there, okay, so I don't know specifically. It's a big town. It's a pretty big area. So are there no companies that pay that kind of money? I got to believe ABF and all that, they must have terminals there. Sea Hill's going. Oh, you're not a driver. All right. Thanks for coming in. Everything in your house was brought by a trucker. Good. Thanks a lot. And thanks for being here. And hopefully I'll see you next Monday. Kimberly, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Thanks for being on here. Mike, hauling fuel. Yeah, haul fuel to the truck stops down there in Dallas. Love's, Pilot, they all take drivers. And they pay really well. And you could be home every day hauling fuel. So that's another good option, hauling fuel. If you have your tanker and hazmat, which you should already have, check one of those places out. There's got to be a terminal around there, considering how many truck stops there are in the area. And even if you can't idle there, they'll at least let you in the truck stop. You won't have to worry about parking. FMCSA understands what drivers are going to do. Yes, they totally know what is happening. They're not totally stupid over there. They all realize what everything is going on, certainly. Can you take a printout from your electronic log? I can't, personally, but I don't see why I couldn't get one from the company. It won't come to me directly, but I guess I could ask them for it. So yeah, I don't see why not. Maybe if you're an owner-operator and own it yourself, it's possible to do. But mine communicates back with the company, so yeah, maybe. If you owned it yourself, yeah. Your company should give it to you though, right? If you need it for something, why would you? That's a good question. Why would you need a printout from your electronic log? Troy has all the endorsements. Bingo. You got it made then. Yeah, have them email your logs. So I have them email them to you, and you could just print them out whenever you need them, I guess. Maybe if you needed them as an owner operator to prove your per diem, because they would still be able to have all the deductions that we don't get anymore, even though the government doubled the deduction. So everybody get ready for that now as your tax forms come in and you file your taxes. No more per diem for company drivers like it has been ever since, all the way back. Even though they doubled the standard deduction, no more per diem. So if you didn't change your taxes last year, you could have a problem this year. The point of electronic logs is to get rid of paper, yes. You can email your logbook at the end of every week right from your Blue Tree. Oh, great. Mine doesn't allow us, wouldn't come to me. I would have to ask them to send it to me, which I don't see why they wouldn't do if I wanted it for some reason. Because if you get in and it doesn't work, they'll email you your last logs to you. So I guess you could do it if you needed them for something. I don't know why you would need it, but if you need it, yeah. If you run an electronic log, is it illegal to also fill out a paper log? Well, you wouldn't be allowed to have two logbooks running at the same time. So if you're filling out a paper log with it, theoretically, it's wrong. I don't know what they would say if they found it. I guess you wouldn't hand it to them, but I guess you'd have some splaining to do, as they would say, because you can't have two logs at one time. You're only allowed one log to work. And remember, if you have an electronic log, you're required to have a paper log with you to fill out in case it stops working. Furthermore, that electronic log display, the tablet, if you use it on your phone, whatever it is, it must be mounted. It must be mounted. You can't sit your phone in the ashtray. That is not acceptable for an electronic log. It is required to be mounted in a place that is visible to you while you are driving the truck seat belted in. So, because they want you to be able to see your log at any time to know where you are in your hours. But putting it in the cup holder is not acceptable. Putting the tablet over on the seat is not acceptable. It has to be mounted. That's what they say. There are mounts for everything. You can Velcro it on there. However it is, it has to be mounted where you can see it while you're driving. So don't just throw it in the cup holder. That's not allowed at all. Your dad said he carried 3 logbooks. There may have been times early in my career that I had more than one logbook. There might have been where we put little dots. I would put dots up there so I knew which logbook we were talking about. That is no more. Because once you think about it, you're like, well, this is crazy. Because one day I left the Iowa 80, there, the truck stop in Iowa, and drove to St. George, Utah, because there was a storm coming across 80. So I cruised across Iowa, Nebraska, Wyoming, Utah, and then down all the way almost to the Nevada border. But that's, looking back, right, I'm thinking that's the stupidest thing I ever thought of. And I had to sit there a day because I couldn't fuel at that time because your swipe of your card was matched to your log. That's how they did it there. So I couldn't fuel again. I was out of fuel. So I had to sit there like almost a whole day to catch up, although I did avoid the storm. Look, that's not a good idea. So it's not like I'm saying, oh, I've always run legal. No. Should you run legal? Yes. Okay, yes, you should. Don't run 3 logbooks. Never got busted on that. Probably should have. Kenworth Rider, good afternoon. What's happening out there? Your mount broke. It's sitting in the cup holder for a few days. Yeah, but you know that it's got to be mounted, so you'll want to get that mounted. Because if they stop and say, let me see your electronic log, and it's not there, that's a problem. So be sure to get a mount for it. And if it's their mount, tell them to give you a mount. Can I tell you how to run efficiently with 11 hours a day? Depends what you're doing, right? There's so many things that you're doing. But the one thing, drive all day. Don't stop. Only take your break and then keep driving. And don't run general freight. I think it's a big problem. It seemed to be the toughest way to make money. Get a dedicated run. At least I've seen from all the people I'm talking to that the people on a regular run do the best with the least amount of stress, it seems like. Hook your electronic log to a printer. You get stuck in traffic, print out and make a reference not against the date. It's a great leveler. I guess if you have a printer with you, you could do that. Or take it in somewhere, get a printer. Oh, you're at home getting your house ready for sale? Nice, $4 million coming your way? Pure flat better compliance wins the battle. Yes, if people would just follow this thing. Let that freight sit around. Let it sit. Sorry, I'm 5 miles away. I'm out of hours. See you tomorrow. Oh, that's how we do it. Then that's a problem for them. As long as it isn't a problem, nobody's going to do anything because drivers are willing to break the rules to get stuff done. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. Oh, you just mean for personal records? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm not saying it to run over hours. So it would mirror the law. The problem is if they went through your truck, and this is not often, I've only had my truck gone through one time in my career, but if they went in your truck and found another logbook, I don't know how you explain having two logs because it's not allowed. So that's the problem. Would you get caught? Probably not. Probably not. But could you get caught? You could. It's a risk. That's interesting. Has anybody else had their truck gone through by the DOT inside the truck? That's been one time, and that was in Michigan for me. Michigan. You run 15, 16-hour days last week? Yeah. No, you didn't. You ran some 14-hour days. You have 10 months experience. Oh, nice. 2 more months and you got that year. A lot of it depends on you. Where do you live? What do you want to do? Depends. It was your choice, yes. Yeah, I'm sure a company would not at least officially tell you to do that, certainly. Especially your company's not going to do that. You had Canada border agents in your truck, so they were in your truck. That's interesting. So they would have found a second log. Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah. You're quite welcome. I just think it's a problem, just not too much of a problem. My only time they were in the truck, this is many years ago, probably the 90s maybe, they went through my truck in Michigan. Oh, we're going to inspect your truck. And it was a company truck. And the company policy was the DOT can basically do whatever they want. So I'm like, okay. So, and they, like 3 of them went in there and went through everything. They're like, okay, you're fine. And that was the end of it. So I don't know. But if they'd have found another log, I think that would have been a problem. That was a paper log time. But I only had the one paper log because I'd already figured out not to run a bunch of logs. It could have been a huge problem. How would you explain a second logbook? I don't know. Maybe you could run some kind of log program and keep a second log that way if you wanted it for your personal records, maybe. Trucker Hershey, they were looking for drugs. Yeah, probably. Probably you always put those, in a personal place. You don't just leave that kind of stuff laying around the truck. They're not stupid. Did they search the sleeper? Yes, they searched the truck, sleeper, everything. All the cabinets, everything. Went through everything. Clothes, throw clothes on the bed. Yeah, the whole thing. So, and then they just leave it like that. And so they're like, have a nice day. Yeah, I own it. Yes, that's correct, of course. That's for everybody. That's why I don't ask about the follicle testing anymore. What I asked only a couple places, I'm not doing that. You should be able to pass. Yeah, that's what loose leafs are for. You could run a loose leaf, I guess. How much does an empty 53-foot trailer weigh? I don't know. What is the trailer? So truck 18, we're 31. We'll say 13,000 pounds or so for depending on what it's made out of. Yeah, Josh is saying 15. So yeah, not bad. 13, 15,000. Yeah, if it's a reefer, that's a problem. Although my reefer on the road only weighed like 33.9 empty. With full tanks on the truck, not bad. Light, very light. But better than they used to be when they, started driving. They're made out of cast iron that they were, cast at the blacksmith shop. They had to pound them out every day. Mr. Omaha is here for the Crap Company of the Year. Every company, yeah. Crap Company of the Year, one was CRST, won the vote. You should be able to haul 48,000 pounds of freight. It depends, but yes. If you load it correct, yes. Josh, 2 words, yes. CPAP compliance. Some companies don't allow you to have the... that's what I should ask everybody. I saw that they have mobile CPAPs that have a battery pack because a number of people wrote this week asking about inverters. And so I looked up, there's a mobile CPAP. Can you not use those? I don't use it, so I don't know. But if anybody's using this, is this mobile one that runs on its own battery? Is that not allowed for some reason? Because then you wouldn't need an inverter. I found one online that has a 30-hour battery. So that'd be more than enough for a night, and you could plug it in. It plugged in the cigarette lighter to charge itself. It seems like you'd never run out of juice. Class B cannot pull a trailer, only bobtail. Correct. A is combination vehicle. The max on your rig is 45.5, so you're 35 empty. Yeah, the weights vary. I recommend taking it to a scale when you get a truck. So Werner puts in an inverter. A couple of people have asked me, though, about companies and say, oh, they're not willing to put in an inverter. What can I do? And so I found these CPAPs online that are battery operated. They're like at an RV place. And they're made just for running without an inverter, and it charges it every day. You're about to get a sleep study, so I should have one. It depends what the study says, of course. Schneider's pack is a car battery with an inverter plugged into the lighter and the plug in the terminals of the battery. All right, so at least they're putting it in for people. So, Kevin, 12 volt CPAP. Yes, I found, well, it has its own battery. You charge the thing, the unit, and the battery lasts 30 hours. That's what it says. And so I thought, oh, this is perfect for drivers. Then you could have it in the truck and not have to worry about them installing something. And I thought, I sent that link over and I thought, here, you could just buy this thing. I don't know if that works or not. Is there some reason that wouldn't work? Does anybody on here use one or not? Would that be allowed? I don't know about, I'm not a doctor. I don't know about how the CPAP rules work. If it's got to be a specific one, I'm not sure. But I found one that has its own little battery pack system in it. So your CPAP has a 12 volt converter cord. So will it run on a cigarette lighter? And if it runs on a cigarette lighter, why do people have to have an inverter? It doesn't, it doesn't make sense to me, but I don't know how they work. Furthermore, Mr. Peabody, right? Wow, that's going back there, Mr. Peabody. I'm not sure if I can even bring that up in the memory. That was pretty good. Well, if it runs in the cigarette lighter, why does everybody need an inverter for it? Nittany Line says humidifiers use a lot of juice. Is that required to run with the CPAP? So that's interesting. Inverter charges the battery when you run them at night. You switch it. Well, the one I saw, the CPAP machine has its own battery and it plugs in the cigarette lighter during the day. So you charge it up and then it has its own battery that runs it for up to 30 hours. So that would be easily good for one night at least, and then you would plug it back in. Is the humidifier separate on it? Is it the same? So there are two things. I'm not sure how they work. Yes, Peabody and Sherman for the win. Wow. Sherman too, right. I'm remembering this now. From Saturday morning, sitting there with my Fruity Pebbles. That is really good, right. CPAP should have nothing to do with trucking, so if you're tired, pull over. Yeah, CPAP has a lot to do with trucking, for sure. Hey, Never Still in Philly. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's much appreciated. Many drivers are required to use a CPAP because they do a sleep study and the doctor says, you're not sleeping good. And so you have to do a sleep study. So that's how it works. Ivona, oh, right. Well, how about this lose weight? I agree. And I'm losing some weight too, even though I don't have a CPAP, but things are easier said than done for people, certainly. Some CPAPs have the humidifier built into them. That's interesting. They lie, and that's the only reason you get sleep apnea. They lied. That some of the doctors are lying about it. Some companies require specific brands. Oh, Stevens makes you buy a specific one from them. Wow. How do they require a medical device that they say? Rumor says they have a financial stake. That would seem to be the case, right? It should be certainly between you and your doctor which one you get, right? Your company shouldn't have any say in. If your doctor says use this one, your company shouldn't have any say in that. They're not a doctor. That's interesting. Are they then practicing medicine without a license? That's interesting. If somebody that's not a doctor requires you to use a certain medical device, that's an interesting question to ask them. Not a driver yet, but don't you need an inverter for the TV, fridge, and microwave? Like Ivona saying the microwave, because it pulls so much juice. Phineas J. Whoopi, wow. They own the dock. Oh, that's interesting. So the dock works for them. That's possible. You have an integrated inverter and the 12 volt cord was an accessory. They think you should live on the road without this stuff. Exactly. I'm just thinking that if they have the cigarette lighter one, they must have some kind of stake in it. If you have to buy it from them, they have a stake in it. Let's be honest about that. There's just no way to prove that. Tennessee Tuxedo and Professor Whoopi and the 3D BB. I don't remember the 3D BB. The doctor's paid by Stevens, but does he work for Stevens? Because like they send us to a doctor too here for physical, and then they pay the doctor. But so he's theoretically paid by them, but he doesn't work for them. It's a clinic or whatever. You can get a Coleman Cooley. You don't need a microwave. You have your phone. You don't need a TV. Hey, sometimes you need a TV. Things you need and things you want are two different things. It's not Russia. I mean, Walmart pays for CPAP supplies and studies. Do you get to decide? That's an interesting question. Do you get to decide which CPAP machine you get? So the fridge and TV, depending on what kind you get, depends how much juice it pulls, right? They require a device that communicates with their network. Okay, so they're going to have a network then that only communicates with this one device to require you to use that one. Collins, good. Get into trucking today. Now's the time. You should write to me at mark@truckinganswersnation.com and we'll talk about getting you into trucking. I answer all my emails. If you have a straight vehicle and haul a 40-yard dumpster, what would the dumpster full of debris weigh? Would you need a Class A? 26,000 pounds on a Class A license? So the combination would be 26,000 pounds for CDL, right? So beyond that, yeah. So I don't know what you're putting in the dumpster. It depends. The debris depends. If you fill it up with mercury, liquid mercury, it's going to weigh more, right? We get the chart out. We'll go into the density formula, but seriously, it depends what it is. A bunch of weeds don't weigh as much as, that fill a dumpster. 40 yards of it is different than, dumpsters full of gold bars or whatever. So it depends. Kevin, exactly. That would be cheaper. And that would run on a 12 volt. Also, you could use that on a 12 volt. Start school on the 28th, Jack's dad. Good. Collins, good. Let's get into school. Let's get this going. I hope do you have a contract? What are we doing? Bluish hue? Yeah, I like to go to 330-ish or so. It shows compliance. I know they want to see that you're using it. I'm just skeptical that they're making you use the one that they sell or whatever. It seems fishy. Let's put it that way. I mean, come on. It seems like a fishy way to do business. The medical things that you get should be only from a doctor. No company, at least no one there that's not a doctor, should have anything to say about a specific brand that you use. Maybe the doctor thinks that's not the best one for you, but you have to use it because of the company. I think they get into a problem for that. I don't like it. You got an idle waiver. Oh, that's great. That's an interesting way to do it. So go get this thing, then get an idle waiver so that you can run the truck and they would have nothing to say about it because it's medically required. Now, does that idle waiver cover areas where you can't idle the truck? Like a city that may have an idle restriction or a turnpike plaza that says no idling. Could you then idle the truck because you have a medical waiver? Fishy as can be, but well-reasoned. Yeah, I'm sure they've got it all figured out somehow in the back room that they are for sure okay on it. I just think, the medical decisions, your company shouldn't have any decision about. You're a doctor and you make the best choice for your situation specifically. And the company's out of it. If they have insurance, then they pay. That's all they have to say about it. They don't get to say you've got to use this one. What if it's not the right thing for you? The doctor thinks you should use a different one. Of course, if he's paid by them, he's probably going to think their unit is probably the best one. The ResMed 10 sends all my info through satellite to the hospital. Wow. It's all fancy over there, I guess. They want it to go back to the company so that the company can fire you for non-use or whatever, rather than actually getting you well or having you treated for some medical condition. They just use it so that they can fire you or hold it against you here. So that's certainly the difference. I don't know if any of them communicate over satellite here. I doubt it. Possibly. I thought that this 12-volt thing was going to work, but I guess not. If a company requires a certain CPAP use, then you have no choice but to use the one that they require. Otherwise, probably they won't pay for it, and you would have no way to get another one. They'll just let you go. It doesn't make any sense. They all do. So over there, all of them do. You're just advanced, way ahead of us. What you're saying is a dumpster is a vehicle being towed if loaded on a straight truck. Is a dumpster a vehicle being towed? So you're saying the dumpster is on the bed of a single unit. No. B license. If it's like a rollback on a single unit, no, that's not a commercial. That's not a combination vehicle. The dumpster put on a flatbed and strapped down or winched down or whatever, no problem. You have to use a BiPAP instead of a CPAP. Larry, I'm not sure what that is. This industry sickens you from day one. There's no CPAP for that. A roll-off is a heavy straight truck. Yeah, if you're going to put it back, anything on one unit, the A is for combinations, 2 units or more. So B covers all single units, no matter. You can throw a dumpster full of whatever back there. Mercury, I guess, if you're picking up a dumpster full of liquid mercury, that would probably be hazmat. So that's different. But otherwise, yes, that's a B unit all day long. If it has air brakes, you'll need an air brake endorsement for it, but on a B license. So you can do that. Be sure to get the air brakes, though, if it's got them, because you'll need it. Otherwise, you're still not in compliance. It forces air if you stop breathing. Yes. So it's just works kind of the same way. I've just never heard of it. And is it required? Is it part of a DOT physical? Maybe it is. And then would Steven sell one of those too? Probably. You'd hack every company driver's electronic log and shut it down for a day and force a strike. No, we just run a paper log. If your electronic log stops working, you grab your paper log, which you're required to carry with you, and just run that. B isn't weight restricted. The A is for units that articulate. Yeah, 2 units, right. So B is a single unit. If you don't use the CPAP for more than 4 hours, you get pulled in by the hospital. Nice. Holy crap. But do you get pulled in by your company? I mean, can they leave us alone for 5 minutes? Cannabis oil? I say no way. No way. I wouldn't touch it. Wouldn't get anywhere near any of that. You don't need it. And I wouldn't have anything to do with it. Even if you have a prescription, keep that in mind. Even in a state that allows prescriptions, if you have a prescription and you test positive on a DOT drug test, you are fired for sure, and you're finished driving anywhere because it's federally a crime. So not allowed anywhere. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't. Even these CBD oil things, I'm not chancing it. Just not chancing it. They hack the shippers and shut them down. Yeah, that's what you would have to do, certainly. Drivers need to organize, but the problem is your government isn't the problem for most things. A lot of things that our drivers complain about, they can solve themselves today without waiting years and years for the government. CPAP is for people, doesn't necessarily have to be overweight. Like I don't use one, right? And a lot of people, we got a thin guy at work uses one. It depends. What about Indian toll booth fees? Are there toll booth fees in India? So I'm not sure about what that might mean. I'm afraid that I'll probably find out shortly. But the Indian toll booths, don't know. Don't drive there. Probably Indiana toll booths, not sure. I'm not going to, because I'm not sure what the question is, right? Bummer, but oil, allegedly a panacea. Look, I wouldn't chance it. You go a positive and you're finished. I mean, I cannot imagine a place hiring you with a positive drug test is too much of a liability. You'd have to buy your own truck. I mean, it's just, imagine you own a company, somebody you want to hire, they go, but I tested positive on a drug test. If they're in an accident later, you have the lawyer's going to be like, why are you hiring people that do drugs? And your answer is going to be like, I mean, so that's why they don't hire you. They just can't do it. And so you'd have a tough time getting a job nearly anywhere. Whether you would test positive, I would not risk it. Let's put it that way. Too much risk. Way too much risk. It's still federally illegal. Right. So quasi-legal. It's not legal at all, right? Quasi-legal is illegal. Right. Most vehicles using without a kingpin. Well, a single vehicle is a Class B vehicle. Even once MJ is legal, the DOT is not going to let you. It's going to have to change federally. If you want to do the cannabis stuff, it's going to have to change federal law. Federal law will have to change. Until then. Oh, a toll booth in Indiana going up? Yeah, the toll booths in Indiana keep going up in fare. Eventually, the trucks are going to go down US 20 and all that and avoid it in Indiana because it's like super expensive. And that's what's eventually going to happen, and that's how they'll go back down. But because they're allowed to raise the toll, I think every January or whatever, that's why they went up due to their contract, they're going to go up. Next year, they'll probably go way up again. Company drivers probably don't care because the company pays it. So they'll still get revenue, and everybody else is going to run down 20 right along the road there. Once those people complain, that's when something will change. So the BiPAP reduces pressure when you exhale, making it easier. Oh, that's pretty good. Can you plug in a cigarette lighter? Which states are the major for freight lanes? West or east of 35. Any major city, right? Risk, that's why you didn't do an illegal run for Swift. Right, exactly. You got to weigh the risk versus reward. And that kind of risk, no way is it worth it. No way. Ozzy Osbourne was a trucker. Look at him. Yeah. Ozzy looks good for 97 years old. Toll booths in West Virginia, yeah. January 1st, right? Are we doomed because an end times cult is in control of government? I don't know about that. That's way out there. That's flat earth stuff right there. When was Ozzy a trucker? I don't know. Somebody said he's a truck driver. It's possible. Elvis drove a truck. Can you run a heavy pintle trailer behind a straight box and end up needing a license? If it articulates. That would be over 26,000 pounds, and double unit should be A. Ozzy failed the drug test. I find that hard to believe. CBD oil is legal under all the states. Shouldn't show up on a drug screen. Maybe. I'm not chancing it. I would not chance it at all. If it did show up, you're finished. So that's what I'm saying. You all can risk it. I mean, I'm just not risking it. And that's going to maintain my position. I would not risk it. They say it won't show up on a drug screen. I'm just not going to risk it. One world order chips in people. They will come. Not flat earth at all. Powers just don't care. That's been always. They don't care. We can't worry about what they do. What the people do in Washington or whatever, that doesn't matter. We have to run our lives today. Parking, that's going to be 10 years before there's smart parking. Go solve it today. Detention, it's really not up to the government to pay the detention. Go work for a place that pays detention. That's how we solve those kind of problems for ourselves right now. Right now. Not waiting for the government to do more studies. They're doing more parking studies. Oh my gosh, really? You have a story for me? Good, because I got to roll out. So what are we doing? You put the CPAP on the pug, and some of them sound like they need it. Yeah, the powers that be. Yeah, exactly. That's the real problem. They don't care, but it doesn't matter. What they do up there, we got to do what's right today, down here right now. Super singles should be outlawed on tankers and hazardous. I see them rolling around. I haven't done them yet. I need a do you test hair follicle t-shirt. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, we could list the places that do test it. Do you test hair follicles? That's really good, right? I don't know I don't know how you ask a company that. So you're calling them up to ask questions, and then you go, do you do a hair follicle test? And that's probably the end of the interview, I would think, because obviously they know that there's some kind of problem. You're saying, oh, well, here's the issue I got, right? It's been this many days since I've done drugs is basically what you're telling them. I wouldn't even continue interviewing somebody like that. It's just too risky. Once they know something like that. Ivona, that's the way it's going to have to be about it. So your 1-year card expired. The doc doing your exam basically forged your physical to make me do a sleep test because I went from a 1 hazard to a level 4 with neck and weight. Yeah, they measure the neck and all that goofy stuff. I totally agree with you, right? Some of them just measure you and make you do a sleep study because of that. Nothing to do with what you've told them or anything. It's just the measurements. It doesn't make any sense. That's not a doctor. A doctor should be concerned about your health, not about a measurement. A measurement doesn't prove anything. I could tell everybody, when Arnold Schwarzenegger won Mr. Universe, he would have had to have a sleep study because he's obese. So it doesn't make any sense. Just because you're a certain weight doesn't mean you're healthy or not healthy at that certain weight. Schwarzenegger, obese, Mr. Universe. Just because of a chart. People don't realize without truckers the world would end. That's the real end times right there. Trucks stop. So JB Hunt does the same thing. A lot of these places do it. And it's tough to ask about it. You should almost ask from a different phone if it's something that concerns you honestly. If there's really something about a sleep study or even cannabis, right, that concerns you, call them from a different phone number and get your questions answered that way. And so then you can always call back if you get the correct answer. I'd still call them back even if they answered no, whatever the answer was, call them back from a different number. That's how it should work. Especially with the neck study, right? So they go, no, we don't do it. Okay, and then you hang up. So I would call them back from a regular number then. Even when they legalize the federal, you still wouldn't. It's like some prescriptions that would disqualify. Yeah, look, anything that affects you, like beer, is legal. You can't drink and drive, right? So because something's legal, you're still not going to be able to do it. But there'll maybe some kind of time on it, the same kind of way. So you can drink after, so you can drive after so many hours. It might be the same way, with other things that you would take inside of you. Without any physical change, same height and weight from a year before. I told her she got your second exam. You needed a second opinion from some doctor that's not being paid off. You've seen dump boxes loose when it's super single went out. You're parked, certainly. You're certainly parked. Donald Trump is 1 pound obese from his most recent ago. I haven't looked up his medical records. Did he have to do a sleep study? PTL does follicle, yeah, but I certainly wouldn't ask about it, and you should be able to pass it. The follicle question is important for new drivers that may have decided to change their ways, but not long enough. Yeah, okay, I agree. If you're trying to change your way, but look, I'm not going to ask about it. Call the place on a different number, because you don't want them to think you're doing drugs. So ask that question from a different phone number, seriously. And then call them back from your regular number if you get the answer that you want. Because all I think if you call me is you're doing drugs. I mean, that's going to be the first thought of people asking that question. You've never run paper logs? Good. You didn't miss out on anything. Our numerous drug test questions indicate that the most potential new hires are reefer. Maybe. I don't know. Some of them may do some of that. I hear a lot of people do it when they're listening to all their records by James Dean and all that stuff, the Four Tops and all that stuff that kids listen to these days. Michael, look, I want people to be able to just smoothly transition into their job, and so asking that kind of question to somebody, maybe you're asking, somebody that has a particular thought about it, and they're just going to mark you no on the application. And we don't want that. So get the answer you want from a different phone number. I'm trying to help people, really. And then call them back on your regular number, and then you'll know. You've been trucking for 22 years. You won't go on strike. Call you, well, not a scab. It's not really an official strike. But despite you only have 2 rules in life, work or get fired. That's how it should be. We can get all these things corrected ourselves easily with just a few phone calls. Yeah, if you're doing drugs, you should find another profession. I agree. The people can't change their lives. Let's be honest about that. Not everybody's the same as they were years ago. So you want to change your life. You need an answer. Call on a different phone. Seriously. Call on a different phone for these kind of weird questions that you might have of a company. Because you don't want them to think a certain thing about you right away. You want them to put their best foot forward, but we have to put our best foot forward as well, especially if you're trying to get your first job or whatever. If you hire, people that are convicted, yeah. So they don't want, if you got a conviction, that's different than doing the thing. So if you have a conviction, they may not have you. They may not work for you. Drug companies need lab rats, exactly. We'll put this out there. Don't forget to come back next week for the C400 XT giveaway from our friends at Blue Parrot. That's why the logo's up there. Somebody said about the logo. All right, that's why the logo's up there. They're friends of the channel. They sent me a couple of boxes of these. So next week we're going to give it away with no purchase necessary. But as I have to say, and there'll be rules as well, and the timer will be back for everybody that's been here. I only announce it here on the live show. It won't be put out anywhere else. And that's for the live show people. So otherwise, I have to head out to work today. So Michael Young, Quasimodo, he might need. I want to thank everybody for being here. I'm always very grateful that anybody comes in, and it's great. Believe me. The Lockout Man channel asks all the companies. Okay, well, they can go over there. I'm not asking him. I'm not asking it. He may ask it, but and I don't think you should ask it on your regular phone number, really, because it could be a problem. So that might be a place to go find out those. Oh, if I tried. You got to do something in life. You have to make a decision to try to do something, to make a change, or nothing ever gets changed. So that's why we're here. So Mark at truckinganswersnation.com. I answer everybody's email, as I always say. Send me your missives, whatever you want to send over there. I hate you, go away, whatever it is. I'll answer every email, and because I get those every week. So there you go. And Mad Maldy, yes. The topic was strike, and we're going to strike away from this show right now. But I do thank you for coming in. Oh, man, Doug, that may be the best line going. Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son. That's what he said. So anybody that knows what we're talking about. And be safe. We'll be back next Monday with more live trucking answers, and I will see everybody then. Thanks for coming in, and come back and get the headset.